Yeah, everyone, this is Thermites, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of September 17th, 2021. On the cover, we've got the new series, PPPPPP, which I, embarrassingly, after I had both seen this cover and then, seen the title, and then I was like, what the hell does this possibly mean? Uh, I realized, oh, right, it's probably supposed to be, like, if you read, these notes, you could, read them as PPPPPP. Like, they literally look like little peas. Uh, Also, I've had to record this over and over again because I've had trouble explaining something that does not need to be explained because I've done it forever, which is just that I say the week of and then I say the dates. But of course, September 17th, 2021 does not start a week. In fact, it is in the same week as the previous Weekly Shonen Jump, because this is one of those rare times where Shonen Jump comes out on a Friday as opposed to a Sunday. So, really, I'm way too into my own head about that. I'm not going to get on a tangent about that, because if I do, I'm going to fumble my words and then get confused, and then I'm going to just stop the recording. So, moving swiftly along to what PPPPPP could be. Like, there's a piano here, so it could be P's for piano, P for pianist. Uh, I'm trying to remember what the series was. Was it Cardfight Vanguard? There was a series that was running in the like Sunday morning children's block back in the day. I want to say it was running alongside like Kamen Rider O's and like Gokaiger, which would have been a very slim period. But no, like it was like in the same block ish as like Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Precure. And the premise of it was the main character had like they were playing a card game and they had different like entire decks for each element in the game, and when they used one of those decks they would then transform, or like did they, yeah, like I don't remember if it was a literal like I gain a new personality or if it was just my personality is influenced by this, because there was a like, when I use the dark deck then I become all like mysterious and mystic, or when I use the yellow deck, I become like a Gyaru. I remember that specifically. Like he would have the like blonde hair and like a tanned body, and like he'd be more like an idol. That's kind of the energy I'm getting from this. Like this is our main character, and each of the P's refers to one of these personas, if you will, that our main character can like transform into in order to perform a different form of piano. Because I think that would work. Like I wasn't even thinking about the word persona until I said it, but that would work. Like piano, pianist, personas, and like there's 6 of each. Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong cast actually. That seems pretty cool. The art style is really interesting. Like when I looked at the hair, my immediate thought was Land of the Lustrous, even though like this is not quite the same art style. But like it's got the very detailed but like big chunks of hair, like the vaguely inhuman like proportions on the eyes and the mouth. Like the face is very alieny. You've got the extra long fingers, although that's more of just a like general shojo thing. You've got whoever, like this design just has like like these like triangles going up to the temples, and then at the tip of each triangle you've got like a little diamond of presumably just like a bald spot where hair does not grow. Either that or it is like the skin is literally stretching over where the hair is. I mean, that's the most like standout. Like everything else, these are all interesting looking designs, but that's the only one that's like immediately like, what the fuck is happening here? So yeah, that is my guess for PPPPPP. We'll see if I get around to that, or I mean, I will get around to that, but we'll see if I am right when we get down to that. Also, there's a Choujin X this week, so looking forward to that. But before we get to that, let's start off with Black Clover, chapter 306, Boundary. So, it is Yuno and, oh boy, what was his name? I always want to say Finral, but it's not Finral, it is Finral's brother. And they are fighting the member of the Dark Triad I care the least about. So, I mean, can you just regenerate that one? What speed, to think it was possible to run this body through. Yeah, because I keep on thinking of his brother who has body magic and who can just regenerate anything. But he has bone magic and darkness magic, right? So like, or bone and space actually. So a hole in the chest should not just be nothing. And he is bleeding from the mouth. So perhaps, but there's no way. There's no way. But maybe it's like a different situation, because in one of these situations we have had just, the fight you would expect. Just the devil user, the member of the Dark Triad, goes to like, absolute 100% in fights. Then for the Lolopeshka fights, we had, devil comes out on her own, separate from the user, or the member of the Dark Triad. And then, it's a big devil fight. So if each of these is going to be unique, this could be it can't just be devil comes out, but it could be some unique twist on it. Ooh, okay, so yeah, flashback actually. So Xenon has a greater aptitude for being a devil host than either Dante or Vonica, and so says their mysterious fourth sibling who we have not seen at all. At no point have we seen this character, so I don't know if somehow I feel like this is gonna work out. Creepy little guy, his bones shoot out of his body. This makes you think so much of Naruto and to be fair, the clan of Naruto who can shoot out their bones was more being persecuted because they were like crazy murderers. But there's something there's something vaguely amusing to me about the idea of the height of fantasy racism being like the people who shoot their bones out. Like that is the group that gets shit on by everyone. But you know what? I get it. Bones are meant to stay in the body. It is pretty, like, weird looking, not for just to see, like, a skeleton walking around. Even that is, like, it's creepy, but I can kind of accept it. But just, I have bones in me, and then I shoot bones out, but I still have bones in me. That is kind of weird. That is very, like, playing Mortal Kombat and, doing a finisher and, like, 4 skeletons fly out of someone. It's a real, like, how the fuck did this happen? It's Alan. Any of them had friends? Like, this is a curveball. This is a real, what? You're telling me someone showed the Dark Triad kindness in the past? But okay, not to skim over anything. Like, so the Mage Defense Force was, I assume, like, the police force of the Spade Kingdom? The Spade Kingdom is always snowed in. There's a never-ending rebellion going on, and then the Diamond Kingdom keeps invading. I wonder what's going on with the snow, actually. Like, I mean, maybe it's just like, it happened to start, sometime around now. But, like, you wouldn't be able to build all of this while it was constantly snowing. Like, that's just the classic, at some point the snow has to stop. But it seemed, to be fair, it's not like it's that insanely snowy. It's just that, it is always, snowed in. Honestly, this does feel really, like, it gives you this feeling of, like, yeah, like, all the kingdoms are kind of the same. Like, Diamond Kingdom seems the most antagonistic, the most, like, we are actively trying to invade all the other kingdoms. But, like, we didn't really know that much about the Spade. I think it's really cool that, like, this is basically the same stuff that people in the Clover Kingdom were also worrying about. Like, Clover Kingdom has, a different dynamic because you have the literal, like, hierarchy, the literal, like, the closer you are to the top, the more rich you are, the further out you are, the poorer you are, and they've got, the heavy class stuff. I wonder if that's the same here. I mean, this seems like more of a, if your parents are working for the Mage Defense Force, then you're a little cocky or you're a little more privileged. But I don't know if they have the same, like, rungs of nobility. We know they have a king, but even then, like, it doesn't seem like the royal family is that much. I mean, to be fair, even the Clover Kingdom royal family isn't that important. No one gives that much of a shit about it. Okay, you've got one kid with, white hair, one kid with black hair, who both want to be commander-in-chief of the Mage Defense Force. It took me a sec to get this. But yeah, like, Xenon is definitely the in this situation. And Alan is the Asta. God, that's so... I was not expecting a parallel like that for Xenon, the guy whose name I never remember, and whose deal I also never remember. But this is so cool. I guess that means we're rivals. And also, like, this makes a lot of sense with the, like... it's not that Xenon doesn't have magic, like, or how do I put this? Like, Xenon has the, bone magic, which is creepy, but it also, like, is very powerful, whereas, like, Alan has fire magic, which in this world, or sorry, in this kingdom, in somewhere where it's always snowing, I could see fire being both a little scary, but also more hopeful. Like, it is the, the warmth that keeps you safe. In the same way that is really, really cool, but he's also... he feels more aloof. He is a really nice person when you get to know him, but just by looking at him, you'd be more like, oh, he's royalty, he is above me. Whereas Asta, you don't look at Asta and go, he's above me. You look at Asta and it's like, well, this is either a friend or someone I'm gonna try and punch. But okay, and he said, I'm not gonna become a devil host. So, they're both battle ready, and Xenon is the one who's the genius. Oh, and they got a dungeon mission like, the early, like, Black Bull mission. Alright, I mean, this can't end well. end well for Alan, right? There's no way. So, is this the Dark Triad that did this? Or actually, is this their brother? Well, even then, like, no one who's gone 100%, like, devil power has just looked like a devil. And this is in a, like, dungeon that has, like, appeared. So maybe this is just a devil that happened to be in here, but I feel like it's gotta be connected to their family, right? Huh. Because I feel like that could also be actually an interesting parallel to Noct. Oh, and Alan's even got a sword. This is my only chance. If I fire now, I can kill the devil, along with Alan. If I don't do it, we'll all die. I see. It makes sense. Like, this is the, making a hard decision. And for someone like Asta or I do believe, like, neither of them would, take the shot and kill their best friend. Like, Asta, I think, would just not do it. He would just try to find a different way, or he'd, like, go around, sacrificing, surprise in exchange for trying to do the kill. Whereas I think, would just be good enough to do a headshot. But, yeah, I don't think either of them would do that. Whereas Xenon, like, I get it. Like, sometimes life isn't fair, and even if, in hindsight, you're like, well, actually, I could have done this without killing Alan. I get why in the moment he would be like, well, this is the best choice to save everyone behind me and everyone in the kingdom. Without power, neither emotions nor tenacity means a thing. Because true, this could also be a big, like, if he had more power, if he was super OP, then of course he could have just, done a big Saitama, quarter circle around, punch the devil right in the head and destroy it. But if all he could do, quote unquote, was this, then all he could do was kill his best friend as well. The weak should be discarded. Overwhelming power is everything. God, this face is so good. Like, I get it. God, I can't believe Yuki Tabata made me care about Xenon of all people. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm still wondering if this was if his family did set that up as a way to, like, bring him back into the folds. Especially since I assume, like, what is going on with his older brother? Or with, the family's older brother? I mean, was he in a wheelchair before? I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah. So it could simply be that, like, he died before he became a devil host, or it could be, his body was incapable of handling the power of a devil, but, like, he had the highest aptitude. It could, it could be a Darth Vader situation of, like, if he had been in his prime and he had become a devil host, he would have been truly unstoppable. But because he, was in an experiment, or he just happens to be sick, he was not able to even survive long enough to make it the... What would the Dark Quadrad be? I guess it would be the Dark Quadrad, right? And this is honestly, like, Xenon's had the least focus. So this also really works in a meta sense of, like, yeah, I imagine a lot of people are like me. We, people who are just like, who the fuck is Xenon? Why do I care about Xenon? I mean, he did destroy the Golden Dawn, but that was also a, like, like, all the others were also kind of cooler, or they had more of a connection to other people. Like, he has a connection to, in that respect, but not that much. And I think we could bring it back around with, hey, you want to be commander-in-chief of the Golden Dawn, or, of the, of the Spade Kingdom. I am the prince, soon to be king of the Spade Kingdom. What happened to you? We both, want the best for this country. So what are you doing? Why are you trying to summon demons here? But legitimately, really, really good chapter. And you know what? Space magic, I think space magic makes the most sense for what he would want. Like, maybe the devil just had that space magic, to be fair, but it could also be a, like, I can't possibly think of any situation in which I could have, not killed Alan here, unless I had power over space itself. Unless I could have either, like, teleported the devil or teleported myself, or just, made a, a space where, I mean, I guess that would have been monozone, never mind. But it does make sense to me. Like, Bone in space didn't really feel thematically connected in any way, but I get it now. Like, for this particular scenario, for this backstory. I wonder if they could flip Xenon. Like, he seems, he has, the most potential to be redeemed here. Like, he's done very evil things, but he's not like Vonica. He's not the, oh, now that I have power, I'm going to go to, 2 kingdoms over and just commit a murder for no reason. Like, I could see him flipping, especially since, Black Clover is not a series of, once you are a bad guy, you're irredeemable. It's a series of, you can change, you can do the right thing. And that's not something I would have expected from any member of the Dark Triad, but I could see it here. Or like the way I would envision it, I don't think he would stick around. I feel like he would turncoat and then go in, and then either Morris or like one of the other devils they summon would just, execute him. Or even like Beelzebub itself might just go like, fuck you, I don't need you. We have a contract, but that doesn't mean that I'm in chains. I'm just gonna fucking leave you and you're gonna die. That said, Black Clover, really, really good this week. I know I say that every week, but I mean, yeah, it's good. It's just a good series. It is like how do I put this? I'm not a big fan of the MCU movies. Like I was looking at some MCU discourse recently, but I do, I like them for being consistent, and I think that's, people who like them for being consistent shouldn't be, detracted from. I mean, I'm also, to be fair, I'm the kind of person who's like, I'm okay with them being consistent, but I do want the inconsistent ones. Like, I really liked Thor Ragnarok because it's so, like, it is, jokey like the other movies, but it's also very weird, very its own thing, very not like the first two Thors, which is, a dividing point. It's very, like, what it does to Thor as a character is kind of rough, but, I want to see those risks. I want to see different stuff. And that is kind of how my rankings always turn out. It is the big, like, there's so many series where I say I love this for being this. It is so consistently good every single week, and then I still take like the highest highs that some random other series manages to hit, and I just put that above everything else because it's like, god damn it, this is so cool. This is so different. This is not what I expected. I'm just a sucker for that. I'm just a sucker for it. Anyways, let us move on to the Elusive Samurai, Chapter 32. You want to give warriors with a death wish the will to live. It's such a cool idea, because yeah, this is also, like, in the same way the series is so oppositional to a lot of traditional ideas, this is the big, like, you think of early Japan, like, you think of, like, a lot of eras of Japan, honestly, as being the big, dying with honor, dying with dignity, samurai way era, even, pre-samurai, like, that was still, a thing. And to have a series where the idea is I'm going to go to people who want to die or want to go out in battle and die, and I want them to just keep on living. That is very hopeful. That is a very it's such a cool twist. Incidentally, I've been thinking about the Elusive Samurai, and specifically Inglorious Bastards, and not Akagi, but one of my favorite reactors of all time, Kitsuda's reaction to the end of Akagi. In that she kept on going, like, I genuinely think that, like, we know how this ends. This is a series that, like, Akagi is a prequel to another series called 10. Akagi has we know how this character will continue on from this point. We know how this character dies. We know it does not happen in Akagi. And even Akagi itself, at the start, notes this. So it is a big ol', like, how, what is gonna happen here, because we know for a fact, like, Akagi is not going to die in this situation where it feels like he's gonna die. And her perspective was like, we don't, to be fair, like, I am going to accept that, but we also don't know that this is still going to be the prequel to 10. At any point, because this takes place in the past, they could just do the big Inglorious Bastards, guess what, this ain't our timeline move, and just do the thing that cannot happen. And that is something that, like, I do think Elusive Samurai is going to end in tragedy. I think it is, because in universe we have said, Tokiyuki Hojo is a footnote in most textbooks. He is not that important. And I feel like they're not going to do the big twist of, but in this world he is. In this world he became the Emperor of Japan. But it is possible. I just want to say that. I want to keep that in the back of my pockets. It's possible. In the back of my pockets? Who says that? Okay. The Elusive Samurai, Chapter 32, Sashimi 1334. So, I mean, okay, the sashimi has to be something else. This has to just be a metaphor for, the fact that he's trying to save all these people. Like, annihilation, death in battle, suicide, and then down this one path is return alive. He's trying to save him. He's trying to stop him from falling down there into annihilation. For a moment there, I was like, wait, is he making sashimi? But you would not, like, sashimi is, fundamentally, if anything, sashimi is raw. It is, a big old piece of fish that you are cutting correctly and, making sure you're properly deboning and all that. But you would definitely not use this kind of ladle with it. You would not be putting it near fire. sashimi has to come up in the chapter later on. It can't be referring to this. I mean, to be fair, none of the titles have ever done the here's the chapter title and then here's a literal representation of that thing here, as opposed to later in the chapter. Contrary to Tokiyuki's wishes, the desire to rush to their deaths did not subside in Hoshin and his men. Okay. So Hojo supporters around Japan raised armies against him. However, the rebellions were uncoordinated and soon fell in defeats. Shit. Like, that sucks, especially because, like, with, the waves of Hojo supporters that were in hiding, that had survived up to this point, now being killed off or being defeated, like, it's whittling down the potential forces that Tokiyuki could rally at some point in the future. That's interesting. Like, I've had, like, bugs before. I don't know if I've ever had locust or, like, even grasshopper. I feel like I don't think I have, actually. But the idea of, like, comparing it to shrimp would make sense, because, like, especially if you're not, like, peeling the shrimp, you've got the crunchy outside and the, like, squishy inside. Whereas, to be fair, most of the time when I've had bugs, they've been mostly just kind of crunchy. Like, I don't think I've ever had a squishy inside bug. Okay, so here's the sashimi. This feels very Dr. Stone. This feels very like, sorry, just petting a dog. Hello. Oh, there you go. Anyways, this feels very Dr. Stone in that, like, Dr. Stone tends to have a lot of chapters that start with, it sure would be nice if we had this thing, or I like this thing, or, in the modern world, this thing was really awesome. And then it is the big, like, well, how the hell could we possibly do that? Looking out from his second home in Suwa, Tokiyuki's first home was beyond Mount Fuji, a little to the left. So, yeah. Like, I think they'll try to get him some fresh sashimi. It's going to be the big, like, no matter where you are, we are your allies, we'll keep you happy. But that, that's also a, like, we're not inventing something. It is just a fundamental, like, we can't bring back your family. We can't take you back to your lands. That's too dangerous, but we can, at the very least, give you this little taste of home. Right? That's gotta be it. Okay, so they're just going. And yeah, and Shizuku's got the, actually, I thought they were going to, like, keep the sea bream in there, but that's also like a steamer pot. I guess it's probably a steamer pot because, it's easy to keep the fish in there and the fish is gonna, like, drip off into the second compartments. This is also such a different vibe from the last time they were all spying on him, which, if I remember correctly, was when they thought he was a weird S&M pervert. Oh, bury the ice to prevent it from melting. Okay, so they brought some ice with them to keep the fish fresh. Oh, man. Also, yeah, like, if this is going to be a surprise, it's going to be real weird, because, again, these are all of his retainers. Like, how do you explain to Tokiyuki that, oh yeah, all of your retainers left you while you were at your saddest? Like, it's that delicate tightrope of, like, what do you do when someone is sad? Are you there for them, or do you pursue the thing that you think will help with their sadness? Because I'm a very, like, it is the classic, stereotypical guy thing of, like, I'm very much I go for the problem. I look at it and I go, like, oh, here's a thing that can be fixed, then I try and do that, and then it doesn't work out, because that's not what most people want, actually, even if they say that. But I'm so bad at being comforting. And this is my nightmare. Like, the committing to going, away for a few days to go get some fresh fish, knowing that the person I'm doing this for is going to be alone. Oh, but Yorishige is here. How about a flute lesson? How about you do chores for me? Really? Allowing a fish to flop around on land decreases its freshness. I didn't know that. I mean, I doubt that's, like, a thing that would really come up in, modern fishing, because most modern fishing is just, big nets. Like, the freshness is preserved by, like, instantly freezing them. Also, legitimately, that is such fine swordsmanship, not just because, he is slashing a flopping fish in midair, which is already insane, but that he's also, just barely cutting into its brain to kill it, and just cutting into its arteries, right where its gills would be. But he is not, like, cutting it in half. Like, they're very, very shallow cuts. I mean, not shallow for the fish, but shallow for, like, anything else. And Shizuku putting in work. I bleed the fish in ice water, then remove the gills and innards before I wrap it in cloth and pack it in ice. This is a genuine, like, everyone putting in the work in order to make this happen. Yeah, like even, you have to ride all the way to Izu and buy wasabi and then, come right back. Like, yeah, this is the fundamental. Every single member of the party had to do something to make this work. Like, that's something even, the battle chapters can't always do, because there's always the, like, well, what do we do with Shizuku? Or, what do we do with this person? We must take the shortest route. In a time without trains or automobiles, the line marking the distance fish could be transported was called the Hojiri-sen. That actually makes a lot of sense, yeah, because Japan is, again, an island. It is a real, like, there was, like, domesticated cows and stuff, but, seafood is very, 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 very big in Japan for a reason. But even then, like, there are some places you just can't, transport fish, or at least you can't transport them from this place to, like, over here, whereas you would have to do it on a different coast. From the Pacific Ocean, the Ojiri-sen was Kofu. Su was farther inland, so fish would rot and become inedible. And this is, yeah, definitely not, like, it's not even a, we need this fish to be edible. It is a, we need to be able to make sashimi out of this fish. This is such a cool idea for a chapter. Oh my god. Because legitimately, this is the kind of thing I wish Dr. Stone did more often now. Like, I've been kind of burnt out with the fact that, like, without getting too into it, like, I feel like Dr. Stone's been trying to chase the high of, like, bigger and bigger things that need to happen, but with less and less, like, connection to the characters. There's a chapter very recently that was really, really good about, like, this is something that is really weird and complicated, and you as a person may not be into it, but this character is. And that, like, that worked well enough for me. But there's a lot of other stuff where it's like, well, this is a thing that's happening, and the characters are enjoying it, but I don't feel that strong a personal connection. Whereas, like, this is the perfect arc for something like that. This is the perfect, like, they all care about Tokiyuki. Tokiyuki is sad and he wants his homeland. And they're all doing their best in order to get this sashimi to Tokiyuki. Like, they are literally fighting, soldiers in order to do this. God, they look like shit. Is Genba just vomiting here? And I should say, they look like shit, but they look amazing as well. Did you actually go to war or do fish shoot arrows? God damn, that looks so good. They did it. They got him his sashimi. Aww. This shot is perfect. This is the big, like, you can feel those memories. Even if, like, I think chapter 1 was a bit rushed. Like, we did the big getting attached to Suwa, or, getting really attached to Tokiyuki's land, and then seeing everyone being, killed and destroyed, and seeing the land being, taken away from him. Like, they did a good job of attaching me, especially with the, like, the fake out of, look at these characters, these are going to be part of the main cast, and then, they're all gone. But it's hard to really build that sense of longing. The best you can do is something like this, where it is the big, like, even if we as the audience didn't see this, we know how much Tokiyuki cared about all of this. And, like, we saw her before. We know he, cared about her. And, like, we've seen, like, the people of Suwa in general. This is not a, you remember these people. It is a, a general people of Suwa feeling. I keep on saying Suwa when I mean, what was the original province? But yeah, I love it. Okay. And you know what? I was taking this as a genuine, just like, yeah, this is, they just did a nice thing. And this doesn't, like, at all take away from that. But I think it is cool that we are doing, like, something that is actually a very big Dr. Stone staple. The big, like, we're going to do something that is very small and is meant for, like, one person, or is, like, very small in practice, but then the concepts we learn from that, or something else we were doing in the meantime, then, performs, it gives us the structure to do something much bigger. And that is something I think is really cool. Because that also means that, like, this wasn't reckless. This was not a, like, they, risked their lives. They risked their lives in order to get this sashimi back. But it is also a, like, they didn't just do it for the sashimi. Tokiyuki should not feel bad about this in the future. Like, they also collected valuable information. Okay, so what is the Kamakura plan? It has been shockingly transformed by its new ruler and the elite companions he has assembled. So we have the other Ashikaga sibling here, and we've got his groupies. So, like, what do we get from this? That is Takuji, right? Like, he looks so side character, so that could be someone else. But he's kind of got the same, like, eyebrows. He's got the same look, sort of. He doesn't have the facial hair, actually. So maybe not. Maybe this is just a guy who looks kind of like him. Then we have this masked person with, big old bare chests. Got this person. We've got a devil. Is this just a demon? I mean, we know Takuji can, see spirits and stuff, so it's not completely out of the realm of fantasy. Like, he's got the, big dark eyes with the dark scleras. He's got pointed ears. But I'm guessing, like, like every other character in the series, this is a metaphorical thing. This is a, like, this is, you're a court wizard-like person. Or, like, legitimately, it could just be the court wizard. It could be, the person who, tells them, fortune stuff and says, hey, you should, go to war on this date, not this date, because that date's unlucky. That's also very possible. But, such a good chapter. Like, I mean, it's just, it's perfect. I'm such a sucker for we're going to go above and beyond for our friend because we care about him. We are going to do this small thing that is going to mean the world. Like, this is the ultimate, in a sense, wish fulfillment. It is the, like, man, I think anyone would wish for friends who would do this, who would go to, the ends of the country in order to bring back something they wanted to eat. Just, like, not on a whim. Like, that is a big, like, if he just wanted this on a whim, that'd be a big old, well, you're just an asshole. It's specifically because he thought this was impossible, and it's because he's feeling so pained and so homesick that this means so much. Ah, God, the Elusive Samurai is so good. It's just good. But does this beat Black Clover? Because this week's Black Clover was fantastic. I think I gotta put it above. Damn it. I can't help it. It's too good. I'm a sucker for this sort of thing. To be fair, this is also exactly what I said, like at the end of my Black Clover reaction of, there are series that are just, very fundamentally good. That are just, week by week by week, it's just very, very solid. And while I do always say I appreciate those, and I do enjoy them, whenever a series does something that's just very standout and very, like, not against form, but just, like, something I wasn't expecting, I almost always just say, like, yeah, it's better than the series that have been plugging away and just being good for so long. I've got recency bias, I can't help it. Anyways, that is the Elusive Samurai. Let us move on to Sakamoto Days, Chapter 39, Encounter. Ooh, what's on this? Legendary Assassin, Sakamoto. This might be that black-haired guy from Order, maybe? But yeah, clearly it's just, the title and this are, like, the two things you're supposed to be looking at. Plus, the illustration of Sakamoto. Now, it would be bad if he was on any other newspaper. Like, he doesn't want to be known as the Legendary Assassin. But to be fair, this is the Sakamoto Days newspaper, so I guess it's fine. What is happening here, actually? Is the roof broken? Is that why they clamped it down? Oh, no, I see. They clamped this chair to the roof. Oh, this aesthetic is so good. Oh, P is over here. I knew this was a bird. I didn't realize this was P. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, this has such, like, beautiful road trip energy. Like, I like the potential for what a road trip can be, but I've had very few road trips I've genuinely liked. They usually just fall into the problem, all the bad parts of road trips. And then even in hindsight, like, hindsight brightens things up, but I usually just remember the parts that sucked. Also, yeah, this can't be, yeah, he's not, like, aiming here. So they're probably not actually in a car trying to shoot Sakamoto. But why is he trying to shoot Sakamoto? I guess it's gotta be dodge training, maybe? Maybe it's a, like, we're going to go up against some dangerous foes, and I need to make sure I can keep my promise that I'll be safe, so I have to get even faster. Or I need to, regain some of my old speed. You just caught 99 shots in a row. Was he catching all of them with chopsticks? Because holy shit, okay, now that is pretty wild. But he did miss one. So, he's not at his prime. Like, he's still he slipped a little bit, but this is still so far and above what any human being should be able to do. I guess the problem is, like, they're going to get up against enemies who also, crush the limits of what human beings can do. You have someone who can just take a hamburger and turn it into a tiny marble. That's not possible. It sure is fun training together, yo. So this is what's like having friends. Of course, no matter how much you train, when you die, you die. That is not a Shin line. So yeah, this has got to be the guy from Order. Nagamo. I've got to remember his name. He keeps on coming up. Meanwhile, whoa, Shin, your vibe seems different today. Will Heisuke ever realize this is not in fact Shin? Okay, now they are just calling him Slur. Last chapter I was like, they only ever call him X or X aka Slur, but they've never just called him Slur. But now they're doing it. Okay, I want information about X, and I want it before they're killed. So that's what he's doing. It is partially a we need to, stop them before anyone gets hurt, but it's also a genuine we know the order is probably going to beat all their asses. So we want to, capture them while they're alive so we can get information out of them. And Sakamoto doesn't have a no death rule. He has a no killing rule. But I do think he would probably maybe he would try to reform them, but I feel like even that might be a bit too idealistic for the series. I think it'd be an interesting balance if it is a I have completely said I don't kill anymore, no killing. If you work at Sakamoto's, you don't kill either. But of course the Order are just the assassins who kill other assassins, so they're gonna kill. And if that means that we're complicit in that, then whatever. Do you know how your enemies see you now? Let me tell you. B rank. By the way, I'm S rank. Okay, so it does go up to S. I do love it. I love knowing that Sakamoto is bothered by this. I'm glad he's not just, your stoic character. There's such a big difference between, your classic stoic, character who doesn't say a lot, and someone like Sakamoto who still feels a lot, but he just doesn't say a lot. Ah, kitties. Ah, I see. At this point, they probably just need a carpenter to replace all the walls. The walls have to be just full of bullets at this point. Bullets that have been shot into them, not just the bullets Sakamoto is storing in the walls. Oh, right now, you and me are nothing but a burden to Mr. Sakamoto. Ah, training arc? Because, yeah, they could both do with some training. I think of Lu as being the weakest one, but, Shin isn't that much better. He has an edge because of his, because of his mind reading. But even in terms of, general assassinry, I mean, he's pretty good, don't get me wrong. But, Lu's also decent. Oh, come on, hold the dog. Aww. So cute. Oh, okay. They're being approached. They have to be. It's the big, the animals can sense the killing intent. Okay, it's this guy. When you encounter a dangerous foe, the last thing you want to do is bark. The correct choice would be to run away with your tail tucked between your legs. To be fair, that is a, the 4 Fs as I know them are fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. And fawning is well, to be fair, flight is running away. But fawning is also, one I'm so fascinated with, because it's something that some animals do and some humans do. It is the, in the face of danger, you don't just give up, but you, try to win them over to your side. You try to submit. It is the, how do I put this? It is, it's an option that works sometimes, but it is the least honorable. Even for animals. The desire to just, I hate you, I'm going to bark at you, and I'm gonna attack if I need to, is, it's so admirable in how simple it is. It is the big, you are a bad person, gonna beat your ass. Okay. Person's last moments to be dramatic. That's why I'm dedicated to providing beautiful endings. Mr. Fatty, for instance, before he goes, he should lose his family, friends, and all hope. So, oh boy, they might have to just kill him here. Or, I mean, they can't, that's it, though. They said they wouldn't kill, but they can still, knock him out. Is that an axe? I can't waste time on bit characters. If the action drags, the audience gets bored. But okay, that also explains why he was just, on a laptop, why he wasn't, doing any killing before this moment. This is the, he wants to, thoroughly research them and not just, come up with a good plan of attack, but specifically, stage it in a way that will, be big and exciting and have meaning and purpose to it. That's a cool idea. Okay, so Lu is C rank. Shin is D rank. Okay. Shin is below Lu. And they're both below Sakamoto, who is, massively devalued. Now, I mean, of course, the rankings don't necessarily mean anything. It is just, it is a third party examining them and figuring out things. But still, I wonder what they examined to make Lu higher than Shin. Because, even looking at Sakamoto, just with general information, you have to know he's still somewhat on his game. He's still, not just a fat old man. That would be, Sakamoto being at D rank. So what... Why did they rank Lu higher than Shin? Also, D rank is the second lowest rank. Oh, but you got him fired up now. Ooh, okay, using the dog food as a shadow clone move. Or not as a shadow clone, that's more like the log, switch move. Ooh, right in the head. First, I'll leave you half dead. Then you reassess my rank. Shin really cares about his rank. Oh, I'm so curious to see what these ranks are. I'm guessing actually they're probably not a pure battle thing. I feel like Liu can hold her own, but I imagine the reason why she's higher is probably more that she is the only daughter of a triad gang, or of the triad family. It might be a, like, if you were to kill Liu, then you have the triads on your ass. Whereas if you kill Shin, like, Sakamoto is going to be on your ass, but they've also ranked him pretty low. And, like, with Liu, it would be, if you kill Liu, then triads and Sakamoto and Shin would all be on your ass. So I could see it, like, I could see that being it. Or legitimately, it could also just be that Liu is, like, we've seen her, drunken master moves. It's possible she's really, like, she is a cut above Shin, and we've never really properly seen that. Because, like, just in their combat, I would say Shin is better. But that's also because, like, when I think of Shin fighting, I think of, the fight with, like, the mascot suits. Like, that whole thing in the amusement park. Like, we've seen more of Shin fighting in general, and we've had, like, flashier fights with him than with Liu. So we haven't had a true, proper, like, these are Liu's limits. Like, I wouldn't even know at what, how she should grow as a person. But yeah, I can see this being a big, like, they leave him half dead, they knock him out, they, tie him up, and then while he's out, and they, like, and Sakamoto's interrogating him or something, at that point, they're like, we can't, like, train ourselves. Like, we don't have time to get stronger, but we have to, like, maybe come up with better tactics or work together. I can see that. I can also see this ranking thing being a big, like, the two of you are so low because you don't work together, you're not part of a group or anything, you don't really have backup, and that would be the big, like, okay, we have to start working together. But yeah, I'm excited to see what storytelling is done with the rank system. And then we still have 3 other people around. We know that his name is not Compress. We know that Crushy Man is, I'm just gonna look at their names really quick. But we know that Crushy Man is going after S-rank people, so he's probably just going to fight members of Order. Like, I don't know if Sakamoto's is going to deal with him at all. So the other two, yeah, Dump and, what was his name? Apart. Like, Dump and Apart are the ones I could see going after Sakamoto himself. If anything, I would say Dump, actually. Because with Dump, I could see it being a big, like, I can't make you, I can't see your death face. And so, like, Dump pushes Sakamoto further and further, and then we get, like, thin Sakamoto, and that'd be the big, like, oh, now you're even sexier. And then, I don't think Dump would see Sakamoto's death face. But I think it would be the, the constant struggle of, I need to see it, stop just making that dopey little expression, I'm going to kill you, why aren't you doing anything? And Sakamoto's just like, I don't care. Like, I know I'm going to be able to beat you, so it doesn't matter. But okay, so it was Dump, Apart, Saw, and Minimalists. So, Saw doesn't really fit for his deal here. And his thing was, like, peeling the skin off of people, right? Huh. Also, actually, I wonder if this bunny was a, like, he's going to go to that store because there are pets there. Like, I wonder if that was supposed to be a, I'm going after Sakamoto, but before that, I've got to destroy all of his family and friends, and I'm looking up where, places where his friends might go, so I can, get him while their guards are down. But yeah, I'm also so curious to see how this arc's gonna go, because, like, we have, Order as their own group that, have more than enough people to do one-on-one fights with all these guys. So it's gonna be a real, like, the fact that Sakamoto's is getting involved at all is actually diminishing the number of fights we can have with Order. And I feel like this is going to be an arc where, like, we see what they can all do. It's like, are they just all going to double team these guys? Like, oh, I'm so excited because I can't really guess what's going to happen. And, like, there are no ally characters that are fodder here. This isn't like the big Chainsaw Man arc that was kind of like this, where, like, we had our main characters and then we had a lot of fodder. Like, the Order and Sakamoto's don't have fodder at all. They're all important characters. So if anyone dies from Order, I'm going to be super duper surprised. Like, even Minimalists, like, I don't know if he'd be able to get his hands on any of them. But maybe if they're cocky, like, maybe if he just manages to barely touch them, he'll, do the big death grip and then the big death squish. Anyways, God, Sakamoto Days is really, this arc is really firing up. Like, I liked the Shin, like, going back to the lab arc. That was okay. The last arc with Liu and with Wu-Tang was okay, but neither of them were really what I wanted. This is way more my speed. I am getting very into this. But that said, I don't think this is as good as Elusive Samurai or Black Clover, so it's gotta go to the bottom. But it was really, really good. Ah, such is the horror of Jump. You can do the best thing in the world and still get shit on in the rankings. Oh boy, so next is PPPPPP, and that's gonna be a real, like, I know nothing about it apart from the cover and, like, the title. So I'm really, really excited. Like, even with, like, Red Hood and with Neru, like, just from the look of it, I could tell what series it was gonna kind of be. So, oh boy, here we go. It's time for PPPPPP Chapter 1. On December 21st, fraternal septuplets were born. All 7 loved playing the piano, and all of them, except for me, became brilliant pianists. Oh, okay, so let's look at these. So we've got definitely, like, big and lazy, also lazy. I mean, they're all babies still, but still, I've got to go with, big slacker, generally lazy, angry boy, sad boy, sleepy, excited boy, and then very excited, like yandere maybe. But okay, this does absolutely throw my first prediction in the like cover section out of whack. My prediction was that the main character was going to have 6 separate personas, and, like, he can transform into them. Like, his hairstyle and everything changes. Like, that's what I thought we were going for. But okay, so they are septuplets, and all of them except for me, presumably the main character, became brilliant pianists. Chapter 1, Mediocre Lucky. Oh man, by Apollo 3. Okay. I mean, first of all, this title, love the title. Like, it's so chunky. It's so, like, I guess it's got to be, trying to get across, the black keys on a piano, and then, these lines represent the white keys. But yeah, it's so bold. It looks really good. So this, I assume, is our main character, Mediocre Lucky. And then, did any of them have black hair? I guess that's this one. Because, yeah, none of them have, like, silver hair. So I guess it must have, like, darkened. So here are the impressions I'm getting are, very sad waif. Grimjow from Bleach. That is 100% the vibe I'm getting here. Is just Grimjow from Bleach. Then big, strong. I thought he was going to be lazy, but maybe it is supposed to be more of a, like, big, supportive energy. Then, like, ultra femme, ultra cute. This is, what am I getting from this one? I don't know what this would give. Maybe sort of a, like, bullyish energy, like maybe a, like, I'm gonna flick you in the head sort of feeling. And then this feeling gives me just, like, this is probably the most talented one of them all. This gives me big, like, composer energy. This is the big Mozarts. Oh boy. But all right, I'm getting into this. This feels good. I hope this is not just quintuplets, but with one more character, and also the person trying to date them is in fact their brother. Oh, I gotta poo. Now that's a character intro. Oh, his face is so squishy. But okay, yeah, so his name is Lucky. So it is a very literal first chapter of just mediocre Lucky. Like, he is lucky and he is mediocre. Okay, I have to walk the dog and clean the house and fix the roof. So yeah, I guess it's gotta be a, like, you're not doing anything special with your life. You're not as good as your siblings. So you can just, you gotta live a normal life. You've gotta pull your own weight. 10 years ago, Mom and Dad got divorced. I was the reason why. Oh boy, the design sense of this house is wild. I'm not against it, but damn, it's so bold. What kind of person is Lucky's aunt? Ah, the Otagami sextuplet pianists. But yeah, and I would accept that as a, obviously it's supposed to be insulting. It is a, you're not one of us. You're not actually part of us. But I can accept it as also a, like, they are the sextuplet pianists. Like, he is not a pianist. Why would they count him as one of them? In the same ways, like, like the Olsen twins. Like, there was a third Olsen, but, the twins were twins. Like, it's not snubbing her to then say, like, the Olsen twins are, like, the two of them are, like, a duo. I guess it is a bit, it's more snubby for Lucky because it is saying, like, these are sextuplets. But, I mean, even then, I will stand by sextuplet pianists as being a valid way of saying that. Oh, I love their vibes. Especially these two being, like, they feel like they are, the mom and the dad of the group. So his dad, or their dad, is a world-renowned pianist who had dominated all 3. So they all played the piano. And so it's gotta be, the divorce was Dad was like, I'm going to take all the talented kids who are good at playing the piano, and his mom was like, no, that's really fucked up. I love my child. If you don't care about him, then it's over. But then why is he living with his aunt? I mean, this might just be the classic, the classic shonen move of, mom had mysterious dead mom illness. She had the dead mom haircut and the dead mom illness, and then she died from being a mom. Horrible. Such meager imagination. Such meager imagination. Such meager imagination. Huh. Yeah, his dad is really just like not chaotic evil, but he's so lawful evil. He's so just like, fuck my child who doesn't know how to, who isn't good at playing the piano. I love all my other children who are all equally good at playing the piano. After that incident, my father would ridicule me every day, and every time my mother would stand up for me. Mom was frail from giving birth to us. Her health deteriorated, and she had to be admitted to the hospital. So, is she dead or not? She might just be in the hospital. Like, it might just be she can't leave because she's so frail. Oh boy, these designs. I now live with my aunt, Mom's younger sister. So classic. Also, like, up to now, it's had a very, very wispy, very, shoujo style, but these two are very, gag manga style. And this is already giving me a big, okay, so Lucky's in more of a, Cinderella role, or, maybe a Harry Potter-ish role. Yeah, he's kind of just the slave of the house. And she is rich. That also, to be fair, that also does explain the sides. Yeah, she is a piano teacher, and if she, plays up her connection to the sextuplets, that would be a big, yeah, of course you would pay the big bucks to be taught by her. Auntie hates mom for divorcing dad, so of course she hates me too. I see it. Yeah, because, yeah. That would be the big, my sister married the most famous, the best pianist in the world, and then she left that person? How the hell? For the sake of a child? What the fuck? You had 6 others. I could definitely see that, that argument playing out later on. Oh, but even then, fixing the roof, that's so far beyond just chores around the house. Yeah, to be fair, this isn't a slanted roof, which is what I'm used to. That is a real, I hate working on the roof at my house. This would be easier, but even then, it's still tough. It's still a big, yeah, you shouldn't be, I don't know. Yeah, it still sucks either way. It still sucks. Come to think of it, I'm basically Cinderella. I'm totally the princess. Hilarious. Okay, you know what? That was a little too on the nose. It was very obvious, but if you start saying it, then it's a little too much. It's my fault because I'm so mediocre. I wonder where we're going with this. Is this going to be Lucky learns how to play the piano, or is it a Lucky does something else? Because, the cover of Jump was very piano-focused, and I could see it being a big, anyone can learn how to play the piano. You don't have to just have that skill, but then, even then, to be fair, it is the perfect shonen situation. As much as I, am not super into the idea of, all of Lucky's siblings know how to play the piano, except for Lucky. So Lucky should learn how to play the piano. It feels very fatalistic. But in the same way, I would be fine with that as a, it's better than a shonen series that starts off with, I'm no one, I'm just an average person, and then, halfway through they go, by the way, I'm secretly connected to this super, famous person, and I have their genetic ability to do this thing, and that's why I'm so good at it. It's not just because I tried really hard. And there is this immediate disadvantage of, the others are geniuses in the fields. It was apparent from when they were children, whereas with Lucky, he is not a genius, and also, he hasn't really been trying since then. Oh, and that's rough, too. Thinking of it as, if only I were, not mediocre, and then my dad wouldn't have hated my mom, and then none of this would be like this. Mother strictly forbade you to play the piano. Why? I mean, I guess it is just because she hates him. Because that is such a wild move. Not just don't go in the room, but specifically you're forbidden from playing the piano. Okay. So it is our musician grandfather. So even on this side, this was also a family of musicians, which, to be fair, that makes sense. I could definitely see, someone like Lucky's dad, being a, doing a, an Endeavor-style marriage. Like, doing it for the eugenics of it. Doing the big, like, you have the genetics to be a good piano player, and I am the world's best piano player. So if we have children, those children will also be the best piano players in the world. I do like these faces a lot, by the way. These are really, really good faces. Ah. And, like, I think this specific style of, like, not full-on gag manga, but just, like the stumpy little arms and legs and the, like, super gaggy face. Like, I think this is actually very funny. I am not carefree at all. It's just I'm in no position to be crying about it. It's okay, she is still alive, but, like, in a coma, maybe. Okay, not on a coma, so she is up sometimes, but... even now, I still love piano. And that is, that is suffering. That is the big, like, you love something that you suck at, and everyone is punishing you for that. It is the, like, if you're not good at it, just don't do it. Yeah, I actually really like this now. Like, I like the idea of it being a big, Lucky remembers when they used to love playing the piano together. And that is, the proper way to play piano. It is something that is, for the love of it, as opposed to a, like, I'm forcing you to do this, or you have to be the best in the world in order to play piano. Like, yeah, this is a vibe I can get into. But okay, she did wake up. And it was to, yeah, he did say this out loud. It made me so happy. Mom always loved watching the 7S play piano. I'm sorry. So, she did hear that, in addition to that. So it was, like, yeah, she did hear the piano thing. So next time he comes over, she might say something like, please play piano. Okay, he is a middle schooler. Also, yeah, I didn't even think about that. They are all the same age because they're septuplets. So, like, they are also middle schoolers who are just, like, super world famous. We were born together, but I feel like I won't ever see them again. Oh my god. This has to be the Otogami siblings are coming to this school. I don't know why they would, especially because this is a public school in the middle of nowhere. And this is also the school where their brother has been exiled to. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it is we as siblings do care about our lost sibling, and so we want to go to school with him. I could see that. Like, that would be a cool, like, you think they might just be all cruel and aloof, but no, they also loved playing with him in the same way that he loved playing with them. Like, their father's, like, viewpoint of the world didn't fully rub off on them. It's also, like, we might get that, though. And I could see a good series where, like, because there are 6 of them, they are all, like, the bosses that he has to fight. But I would prefer a series where they're all, like, kind. Isn't this... It's his performance, the oldest among us septuplets. Okay, so she was just, like, listening to it. So she might just be, like, a fan, then. She's the girl from this morning. The girl who said, Otogami. Like, since Shokugeki no Soma ended, there hasn't been a series in Jump that is doing the hard, like, doing big fantastical things. I mean, like, Dr. Stone does that sometimes. But that's more of a, like, here's just an idea of the thing we're going to do. Whereas this feels like this could be the, like, music sweeps you away. And so, the mangaka will draw, what the music is making these people see and feel and experience. Especially if it's, like, if the, like, visions are less comedic than the Soma ones. I can see that being an interesting, like, gimmick to the series. I wonder how you can visualize something you've never seen through music. Performance, where you can see fantastic scenes like in a movie, is sometimes referred to as visual music. Who is this girl? I mean, she might just be, a general fan who'll, like, I think he's got to play piano at school. I think it has to be the big, he's going to rebel by doing that. She's going to realize that he has, like, that he is, that there is something to him. Not that he is skilled and not that he has innate talents. It's got to be a, like, in the absence of having trained for all this time, in the absence of having raw talents, he still has, his love of playing piano, and that is felt through the chords. But even then, like, the thing is, like, I feel like the series has to have him be, like, not on the same level as the siblings, but, like, he's reaching for that. And you can't do that with sheer love of piano without implying that his siblings don't love piano as much. And I don't think they would do that. I mean, maybe they would, but they could do a, like, their father has stamped out all the love of piano inside of them, and now they're just, like, automatons who play piano, or they do evil piano. But again, I'm not really feeling that. Music high school. Oh, you know what? It's probably not the siblings are coming here, because they're about to graduate. I feel like it's got to be the siblings are going to go to Shibuya Music High School. And separately, Lucky is going to move away from his aunts, and then independently try to get into Shibuya, like on a scholarship or something, and he'll manage to do it. That would be really cool. I could see that being the big, like, they haven't seen him for so long that they don't even recognize him, and then they recognize him through the way he plays. So what is he gonna see? Is it? I feel like his mom has to tell him, you have to play piano, or I also loved watching you play piano. Yeah, she's up at the very least. Think I'm getting better. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. This is manga. You're always apologizing to me. See, these gag faces I think are not quite as good. They're okay, but they're more raw and sloppy. I'm very curious to see if this is this mangaka's like first like serialized work, because it feels way more amateurish than a lot of the series that have been running as of late. And that's not necessarily bad. Like, there's a lot of promise to this, but also, there's a lot of like lack of polish. I'm sorry I wasn't able to give birth to you as a genius. When you say you're sorry that you're mediocre, that's basically my failing, isn't it? Ah. She's trying to push him. Ah. Ah. Okay, so she changed her medication, like, specifically to do this. This is a big, like, I'm going to be suffering through this, but there's something I need to tell my son. She's sweating, and there's a little tear here, but she can't let him see. Then become a pianist. Show me that you can become a pianist even though you're mediocre. I want to see it because I love the way you play the piano. Ah. Don't give up. Don't apologize. Don't ever say those things. Don't worry about money either. Your father thinks only the talented should play the piano. Prove him wrong. Honestly, this is actually very Soma. This is very, was it Erina? Yeah, Erina's dad, with his, like, the only food that anyone should ever eat should be the highest class cuisine. It's the big, his dad doesn't want to play the piano, his aunt doesn't want to play the piano, but his mom, the only person who he really cares about, wants him to play the piano. Someone has finally told him that. Which I get, like, that is the big, 99 people tell you, you're awesome, this is great, I really enjoy what you're doing, and then one person says, this is really shitty, and your takeaway is, oh, I guess I'm really shitty. Like, it hurts because I get into that sometimes. I am very much not a, like, deep pessimist, but I'm very susceptible to, like, just a bullet out of nowhere. Like, if I'm feeling good and I get, like, not just, like, constructive criticism, but a direct, like, this sucked, or this video was bad, or whatever, I immediately, like, I take that to heart, even though I logically understand I shouldn't. And I do, like, I can talk myself out of it, but my initial response is always, oh fuck, that hit me like a bullet. From then on, I ignored my aunt's orders. I fought with Masashi. I took lessons from a teacher. Really just kind of skipping past this bit. I wish we had like, a page or two of him, like, defying them, as opposed to just, like, panels. Should have had you take lessons all this time. But yeah, this is a, like, he had never considered it. It was a big, like, everyone except for my mom has told me I can't do this, and I'm not buying this thing my mom is telling me, which is also something I'm struggling with as an adult. The big, like, oh yeah, my mom does believe in me. Like, I take her love for granted to the point where I don't think about it, but I've had to, like, reevaluate that as a person and go, like, yeah, you know what? When my mom says that, even though she has said it all my life, she means it every single time. And so I should, take that, even more so than I take other random people's criticism. From now on, I've chosen to play the piano every day. Even if I don't pass the entrance exam, I'll find a place where I can play. I can play piano. So how are these entrance judges going to handle him? Like, we haven't seen him play piano, which is also, like, I can appreciate the structure of this chapter for being very, like, emotional, for being very, like, we're selling you on the person, we're selling you on the themes of the series. We're not going to sell you on the literal music, because again, this is, it's manga. This is not a medium where you can hear the music. But it's also a strange choice to not have him, like, to not even, like, let us see him playing the piano shittily. So, like, we don't, whatever he's going to do now that he's been training, we're not really prepared for, like, if there's going to be a twist on that. This is just the first time we have seen him play. That's really cool. Yeah, because Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is so fundamental, and it's something I have bad memories of, honestly, in music class, because I played trumpets, and I was very, very bad at playing trumpets, and I think it was just that, like, when I started off, it was you start with one instrument, and then that is the instrument you stick with forever, and I could not do the thing with your tongue you're supposed to do when you're playing trumpets, so my trumpet always sounded like fucking ass. And, like, I was very good at music theory and whatnot, so I passed. I got, like, an 80 in the course, but I could not play trumpets, which is insane. And I remember specifically having this period where we had to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I was playing the notes, but I could not, like, because I was not blowing correctly, and I kept on like trying to shift my blow in order to do it correctly. I couldn't, like, it sounded so unrecognizable, and I was like, fuck, this is why I hate music. Or this is why I hate playing the trumpet specifically. Because I could also, like, I was a little okay with woodwinds, but only when someone else was like, hey, do you want to try mine? Because again, we couldn't change what we were doing. So I just spent an entire year playing very shitty trumpets. Okay, I'd be thinking, listen to this. And so, what this judge sees is, like, literally that. It is, being around the sextuplets. What's this? There's a cup here I can't drink. Such a clear visualization. It is a, like, I am playing this for my mom, and so if you are listening to this, you will be in you will be in the place where my mom was. That's so cool. But yeah, like, without being able to help it, like, the other two didn't seem to notice anything, but he, like, was incapable of separating himself from the illusion of, being this boy's mom. And also seeing the other sextuplets, or, seeing the other septuplets, I should say, because they are septuplets in this context. Yeah. Played poorly, or rather weirdly. Very softly. But yeah, like, that is the, like, of course you got the feeling of being near a child, because it was played like a child. That means it's still faint. It only came out during Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So okay, that is a time skip, like this black bar, so we did go through the other two, and those were just meh. There's nothing wrong with being mediocre. Mediocrity forces people to fight using their life experiences. It's pretty fun. You hear their lives and they're playing, and it's authentic. Depending on their experiences and how they were raised, mediocrity can surpass talents. His playing spoke to me. Not only could I see it, but it was as if I was in a movie. Is that what is called experiential visual music? I see. Sonata, huh? But those kids were the Otagami family, right? That's so clear. Like, it's not just you're feeling children, it is that you see the Otagami family. There is a cup in front of you, and it's not even like, you're experiencing the feeling of picking it up. It is just, no, you're trying to pick it up and you can't. That's so cool. And to be fair, like, this theme of mediocrity forces people to fight using their life experiences, and that idea of, like, even if it's kind of shitty, it's authentic. That is legitimately the perfect take for a series like this, where, like, the art style is giving me that same feeling of, like, this is kind of mediocre, but it also has this level of authenticity to it. It feels like this is the kind of thing I really only ever see in one-shots. Like, I can't recall the last time I read a, like, serialized series that looked like this. That wasn't like a Twitter manga, I should say. Like, something that was in a, like, actual magazine that looked like this. And, like, this is not that far off from something like, like, the earliest Naruto, or the earliest Bleach, or the earliest, like, Hunter x Hunter chapters, where, like, those also didn't look as polished as a lot of the chapter ones of new series nowadays. So, like, this mangaka's got nuts. I get it. I see it. I can feel it. I got what they're going for. Now, did his mom die? Never mind. No, she's still around, and she's here to see his acceptance letter. Got in. Whoa, Masashi didn't get in. He's putting a curse on me. And I'm sure she's got savings. It's like, she did say, don't worry about money. So he's not gonna have to, like, work a second job or something. He could just live in the dorms and try to do his best. I really wonder, like, we know that she doesn't have that much time left, but I'm curious, when she will pass. Like, is she gonna pass in this, like, this, like, prequel, this, like, this setup era of the series, like, within the first few chapters? Or is she gonna be around for, like, most of the series? Because the series could take place within a relatively short period of time. Like, it could just be his first semester. But no, I'm guessing that I'm guessing they're going to go for something a bit more long running, especially with all of the siblings. I feel like the siblings aren't going to go to this academy, but it might be like, there's a, like, one of them comes here. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they ever really break up. It seems like they move around as units. But I could see something where it is the big, like, not that they go to this school. That would be the best answer, though. That would be the big, like, they go to the school, and he, because he is, ashamed, he tries to, like, he dyes his hair or something. He tries not to let them know that he is their sibling. But when he plays, they're like, oh shit, like, that is the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star that, we used to improvise on. Like, I can see that, how do I put that? Because, like, his power is also honesty. So I don't think he would do the, like, I'm going to dye my hair. I take that back. He would not do the, I'm going to change up the way I play so my siblings can't tell it's me. I think more so it would be his siblings come to the school just for a temporary exhibition or something. They do it just to do it. Or because they're being paid a lot to do it or something like that. And then they notice him, and then he makes it very clear, like, I am your lost sibling, but their father won't let him, like, talk to them. And so it is this big, like, if you want to talk to us again, you have to go, like, get good enough to participate in this tournament, or, like, this exhibition, and then we will be there as well, and then if you do really well, then our father can't stop you from talking to us. I think that could be cool. Because, yeah, like, it seems like they're being used as a unit, like, as all 6 every single time. So I don't think we would do, like, boss battles with each one individually or something. I think it's gotta be like, we learn more about them, and we could even do the, like, as the series goes on, like, the chapters could be, like, some chapters are, like, all lucky, and then some chapters could be the siblings, and, like, them doing their best to strive for the top, and then the dueling between both sides. Oh, there's so much promise in the series. It's not like, there's still a lot of problems with, like, I don't really care for the art style. I think the like, the direction of the story is, it's hitting a lot of the same beats, but that's not necessarily bad. There's a lot of heart to it. Like, above all else, there's a lot of heart to it, and I'm hoping that it does really well. So I'll definitely read the next 2 chapters as always. Not sure if I'm going to, like, continue with it as an ongoing series, but maybe. It really depends on whether the next 2 chapters can really sell me on it. And also if I think it's, like, an interesting series to talk about. That's the other, like, unspoken rule of, like, whether I keep these in my reactions or not. Like, even if it was a really good series, if I don't really have anything to say about it, I wouldn't, like, just record myself reading the chapter and then going, yeah, that sure was a chapter. Anyways, that is PPPPPP. Not what I was expecting at all. I'm glad that the P's do not stand for poo. Yeah, there's nothing else I really need to say. Interesting series, I hope it does well. With that, let us move on to Choujin X, Chapter 8. So, Tokyo, what's all this about you being a key witness for a secret agent? Okay, so that's how so they didn't tell his family, hey, your son's a Choujin. They're just going with, you're a secret agent. Because, yeah, when we last left it off, he was, like, being held at a, like, Choujin training place, but we didn't really do anything else with that. Like, there was no, like, how her parent, I think I actually said last chapter, I was pretty sure his parents would know, or, like, his family would know about it, because, like, how else would you explain it? But this works. Kurahara, so you're a key witness for a secret agent? Also, it isn't like, you're a key witness for a crime or something, it is consistently a key witness for a secret agent. So there is a secret agent out there, and Tokyo is that agent's key witness. That is the thing they're going for. And someone's listening in on them. Right? Or no, never mind. So I guess this is just, it cut to the roof, and he's fiddling with the radio. So, you're a secret agent's key witness. Huh. Wait, so Yamato Mori is the organization. So, even though they're in Yamato Prefecture, or maybe it is just a thing for Yamato Prefecture, maybe. Also, what is this radio saying? Rising picture of the Koshin. The era when kids can dream is over. I saw the era when kids can dream is over, and that was real, like, I should probably be reading these. So they're a group of good Choujin. He's not wrong, though. And to be fair, now that they're together again, has Tokyo told Azuma what's going on? Like, has he said, hey, by the way, I did turn into a Choujin? Like, he was trying to find him before, but did that work out? Well, I mean, yeah, he brought up Yamato Mori, so obviously, Azuma knows. Obviously. He was gonna say pigeons, wasn't he? But okay, so he needs a registration card. Now, let us be grateful for the grace of God, and together offer our prayers. Rising picture of Koshin, I don't know if that really means anything. Like, I mean, Koshin is the tournament, so it might be a, like the greater meaning of that could be a parallel to, like, this is the start of Tokyo becoming someone very big and important. Or, like, being a big member of Yamato Mori at some point. The era when kids can dream is over is concerning. That feels like a dark twist. That feels like it's going to be by the way, Yamato Mori is evil. Either that or, actually, it might be referring to Azuma now that I think about it. It could be like, this is, Tokyo's path. This is Azuma's path. Like, Azuma got injected, did not become a Choujin, and he cannot be the hero. Or, like, he can still do what he was doing before. He can still be, a bit of a vigilante. But now he has to live in Tokyo Shadow. And then now let us be grateful for the grace of God and together offer our prayers. That feels foreboding. Choujin X, Chapter 8, My Benefits. Okay. So they're all very young as well. Like, the handsome guy was not very young, but, like, these two, like, maybe these are all just, like, trainees then. So Simone is a guard. Maiko is a third-year Kompai High. So I guess, even though Kagemura here isn't, like, even though they're a year younger than Maiko, I guess they're just not going to school, maybe? Maybe there's, like, a guard here full-time? And then, yeah, Ellie is not, like, she is not, like, a part of Yamatomori right now. She's just boarding for free here. So Otsuya and Kurahara, he will both take a 40-day course on Choujin. After which he will take a brief test, only then will registration cards be issued. Okay, cool. Zaven. Did that come up, like, a chapter ago? Like, I don't know what that would be misunderstanding with, but that's gotta be the last time they met, he said something weirdly, or she misheard something. But yeah, I mean, that's Ellie. She tried to save him even though she had just barely been a Choujin. She had no idea what was going on. Whereas, yeah, I guess Tokyo probably thought she was like a secret agent herself or something. That's also a really good way to keep him humble. Like, even if, even if Azuma at this point is like, even if he's feeling weak, even if he's feeling like, he's now living in Tokyo Shadow, like, Tokyo is not feeling at all like top dog. Like, the power can't possibly go to his head, because immediately, like, he's been outclassed by someone who is barely, was barely a Choujin for longer than he was. And then she is still, just a trainee like him. And they have a bunch of senpai, and then that's not even getting to Sandok, who is, like, so far above them, and then he's probably not even the leader. You mean to say that you'd like a job that requires you to take a stroll into the brains of homicidal lunatics in the unhinged? Is that what you want? Okay. Okay, cool. So it is, like, only permits the use of Choujin abilities in unavoidable situations, but, like, you are allowed to use them in self-defense, essentially. It is the big, like, if you desperately need to do this, you can do this. We're not saying that, you're registered now, and if you use your powers, you will be arrested. It is just, like, you can't be a vigilante. And, there's a line there. There's still a line where I feel like Tokyo might end up, putting himself into situations where then something unavoidable happens. With Class B registration, you two are only allowed to use your powers to protect yourselves and others or on accident. Okay, so actually... Oh, okay, you know what? That's actually a lot looser than I thought it was going to be. So he could, potentially be a vigilante like that. Like, if he always if he always says, I am protecting my friends, or I was walking down the street and this person was being attacked by a Choujin, so I also turned into a Choujin and fought them. And that's interesting. Like, so Ellie has never had her powers come out by accidents. Or, I mean, like, there was kind of like the first time, but even that wasn't necessarily accidental. That was more just like, she intended to do it, but also, like, she didn't really understand what was happening. When you're really mad or feeling down, sometimes your powers will come out on their own. Because, yeah, that is the one thing that Tokyo actually has way more experience with. Like, he was locked into being a Choujin, presumably because he felt so bad about himself, and he was so, like, down and out. And he was so, like, also scared about it. Like, that was definitely a self-fulfilling prophecy of the more he is scared about being found out as a Choujin, the more he just is a Choujin. It's inconvenience. But yeah, I also do appreciate that there is a clause for on accidents. Like, if Tokyo freaks out and becomes a Choujin, he's not going to be hunted down. It is a hard, like, no, I'm registered. How about you vent some emotions? So she was embarrassed about it, but if we zoom in here, like, no part of her body looks super inhuman. But, like, her arms and legs are, like, shaded out, but that could also just be what she's wearing. Like, yeah, like, she's already wearing, like, arm warmers and leg warmers. So, nothing visually happened that we can see here, besides just having super strength. I'm gonna guess, like, her face gets really, really scary. Self-control is strength. But okay, what do you consider to be good? So, Tokyo's is helping others who are in trouble. Ellie's is to live comfortably. What is evil? Making trouble for others? Murder. So straightforward. But that makes sense. Like, Tokyo's is, like, it's less life or death, but it is, like, it is broader. It is the, like, good is, positive, doing positive things. Evil is doing negative things, which is also how I would define good and evil. Whereas, like, Ellie's are Like, way more specific and also way more, like, in line with her, like, life experiences. It is like, yeah, good is just, like, living good. Evil is killing people. Because I assume she hasn't, like, met a lot of people who've been evil in other ways. And who are your allies? So, my buddy from childhood, my grandpappy and farmer friends. Who are your enemies? So, the Smoke Man. And yeah, like, Tokyo doesn't have any existing enemies. It is a, like, I don't even know if she's an enemy or not. Whereas Ellie has a very clear enemy. Which makes sense. Like, she's closer to, like, a Rider situation. Like, she got her powers from Chandra, and also Chandra is legitimately evil. Now, what is the most important question? How do you hope to benefit from your lives? So not just how do you hope to have a good life or anything, but how do you hope to benefit from your lives? The phrasing is really interesting. Because, yeah, I assume, like, it was translated like this because it's supposed to be loose. It's supposed to be something where you can, like, interpret it in different ways. So, Ellie is straightforward. She just goes straight out with money. Most of my dreams will come true with money. Except, of course, for dating him. What is his benefit? Because all of these have also been, like, from the perspective of him wanting to be a hero. Which is inherently not... It's not supposed to be self-serving. So, would he benefit from being a hero? Is that how he's going to, define it? Is that how he's going to describe it? Because he also doesn't seem to really want that much. Like, he doesn't really know what he's doing in life. So it wouldn't be right if he said something like, I want to have a house, or, I want stuff. Because it doesn't seem like he genuinely wants stuff at all. If I had to guess, the one thing I can think of is, like, a sense of purpose. Like, he wants to know what he's doing. What would be to my benefits? Something that would help Azuma, but isn't that just to Azuma's benefits? What would be my benefits? Okay, do you have a dream? But even then, does he have a dream? Like, he doesn't. He is Azuma's sidekick. Like, he lives for Azuma, or to a lesser extent, for his family members because he lives with his family. What does he want? Like, Azuma does seem like the most legitimate thing, but if you say that out loud, then if I were in his shoes, I'd be terrified of saying that and then being told, no, that's not an answer. Like, even, it wouldn't even be a, like, I'm worried about what this means. Just, I'd be worried that they would say, no, that's not an answer, think of something else. Now, did he think of anything? Or are we just going to cut to the bus and it's like, no, he didn't say anything. Why didn't you answer him about your dream? So he did not say anything. So straightforward. I mean, I do like that about Ellie. But damn, just coming right out with, you don't have a dream, then what's the point of living? And yeah, like, her logic makes sense. Like, if you have money, it'll make life easier, it'll make it more fun. Like, you can't get everything with money, but you can get a lot of stuff with money. Whereas it does, I genuinely think what Tokyo wants is just to be Azuma's sidekick. Which is something that fundamentally cannot happen now. Or, like, if he does, it won't feel right, even to Azuma. If he's like, I have these powers, so let's go do vigilante shit, and you make sure that I can write this off as self-defense, and then I'm going to save people from Choujin, or like, record this to make sure that people know, like, yeah, the Choujin attack happened first, I did not attack first. But even then, that is very much putting Azuma into the sidekick role, which is something that I don't think he would like, and I don't think Azuma would like that either. Yeah, I get it. Like, as someone who, I have some dreams, but they're very, like, how do I put this? I've definitely been in the state of, like, I don't know what my dreams are. And there's a lot of stuff I want to do that just feels like it's not possible. So, like, my dreams are all things that I would say, like, I would say it, and then I'm worried that people would say, you can't do that, or how are you planning to do that? And my answer is, well, there's a lot of blank steps in there that I don't quite fully understand. But yeah, that's also, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, she lives, like, on the campus right now. So she followed she followed Tokyo all the way to the bus stop just to ask him that question. She was there, A, to keep him company, and B, to ask this question. So it was important to her. Okay, getting that fallout from the zoo. Oh boy, who the fuck are you? Maybe a squid man? I'm sorry, what? It will take some time, but I believe so. What the fuck? What? Like, I'm guessing that these are, these are, of course, paper cutouts that have now been grown to full size and are, like, animate. But, I guess the follow-up is trying to find the snake girl? Or alternately, I guess it might be finding Tokiyuki and Ellie. And killing them, maybe? Huh. Because, yeah, this is definitely not, like the organization. Like this has to be, the people working for the Snake Girl, or working along the same lines as the Snake Girl, not working for her. Like clearly they don't like her. And okay, he is an octopus. Sis, have you got any dreams? To marry, into money. But really good chapter. Like, I really, really like Tokyo as a character. Like, it's very hard. It's tricky to do a character who doesn't have dreams and have that work as a thing. Because if you do it wrong, it feels like, why am I following this person? Like, if this person doesn't give a shit and it doesn't seem like the mangaka gives a shit, then why should I care? But that's not the feeling I get from Tokyo. Tokyo feels way more like we understand why he is displaced, and he is not a bad person. He doesn't really have a dream. Like, that is the best way to put it. He doesn't have a dream of his own, and for the longest time he has been, assisting with Asuma's dream, and now he has finally been given some power, and he doesn't quite know what to do. Yeah, I really like this early tone. It feels very experiential. It feels very like, it's not too superhero-y, but it feels very much like like we have superhero elements, but we're going to spend a lot of time on, character stuff, on fleshing out Tokyo and fleshing out the people around there, and like, thinking about people's emotions. It's really cool. I really love this vibe. From the very early chapters, I told my fiance that the series felt very One Punch Man, but I've gotta rectify that. Because, like, it's not that One Punch Man doesn't, have internal stuff like this, but it's not, like, the focus all the time. But I don't know, it is there. I would say it actually does still have a lot of that One Punch Man energy, in that it is this look at, like, if you had this power, if, you had this, like, Rider-ish situation where you have this monstrous power and there are monsters out there that you can, protect people from, like, how would you handle this emotionally? How would you deal with this? What do you do? Like, do you throw away your life for something like this where it is, like, constant danger, or do you try to find something else that will just make you happy? Like, if this is a realistic situation, then what do you do with your life? And I appreciate that, like, the tone of the series is, like, the series is saying this kind of stuff, but the tone is not super heavy and super dreary. It is very, like, it manages to still have lots of levity and a lot of, like, fun to it. It's just a good read. Man, Choujin X is lovely. Oh boy, I didn't rank PPPPPP. Sorry about that. Let me do that right now. PPPPPP, as much as it has a lot of moxie to it, I can't say it's as good as any of the series currently running. Like, that first chapter did not blow me away. Whereas, like, Choujin X this week was very, very good. I would hazard to say I liked it more than Sakamoto Days. I don't know if I liked it more than this week's Black Clover, though. Like, they felt very similar. And to be fair, Black Clover was a little more, like, it was kind of cookie cutter, but it was cookie cutter in a way I really, really like. It was, the shape, the cookie shape it was pressing this time was something I don't think the series does that often. So I might still give it the edge over Choujin X. But this was a really, really solid chapter. Like, I'm so happy we spent so much of this on just, like, on Tokyo learning about the situation and, like, not settling into a status quo, but just, like, learning about stuff and, having to think about, his future. I might put that above Black Clover, actually. Like, it is really good. I don't think it's as good as Elusive Samurai this week, but this was really damn good. With that, let us move on to The Hunter's Guild Red Hood, Chapter 11. Meriopios. So, I'm excited to see what Mary's thing is gonna be. Like, we know so little about him, but he has been, like, framed as, like, one of the main characters, like, next to, what is his name? Bonkers. Like, Mario and Bonkers are, like, the two roommates, and everyone else has been, like, they're here as well, but we're mostly learning about them in this, like, situation. They don't have any expenses, so all their income is technically profits. Something about that just doesn't sit right with me, Makes me mad. Huh. So, what is your deal? I'm not your enemy. In fact, I'm your ally. No, I'm your savior. Name's Moscow. Let's do business. Okay, I'm excited for, like, a business themed person. Because, yeah, that makes sense with this. I was wondering if he was just supposed to be, like, a hard atheist, but no, it makes sense if it's if he's doing a business thing. Okay, it's a good goal, real respectable. Me, I'm taking a longer view. Ah, I see. He's going to take over the entire guild. Ah, will... I mean, I could see him continuing to be a main character. The question is, will this work? Is this a series where capitalism will take over the guilds? Can you take over this worker-owned commune and turn it into a machine of capitalism? Okay, so the manufacturing method is like, yeah, only the Hunters Guild can make wolfonium. It is the trade secrets. If I can get my hands on that method and weaponize the material, war would change, the power balance of the world would shift, the guild would control all. Yeah, this is a real, like, if they keep him around, they're gonna have to keep him on a tight leash. This is a real, like, we have to control the capitalists. They're fighters that I just hired. This aesthetic is so great. Like, I am a sucker for the extreme capitalist. Like, that is not a thing I like IRL, but in fiction, I love that aesthetic so much. Like, that is part of why I think Dr. Stone is so cool, legitimately. Like, the idea of, like, walking up to your enemies and throwing bundles of cash at them and saying, hey, we don't even have to fight. I'm just gonna hire you. I wouldn't recommend saying no. So yeah, this is a big, like, they didn't just team up with him of his own regard. He did, like, beat them down as well. Or, like, he hired some of them to beat down the others and make them submit. See, I like useful things, practical things. And if I'm gonna get what I want, the most useful practical tools are money and violence. Yeah, I can see him just getting kicked off the boat, but it really depends on how this goes. If they just beat his ass, then yeah, he's getting kicked off the boat. Workman's arts. Rule number 1, good communication. Oh, that's a cool move. I thought good communication was like the, I'm going to say all this in order to, scare you. But no, it is for him. He is saying, I'm your superior, even though he is not their boss. In order to just power himself up. Oh, and he's also, I didn't even realize, he's holding down his speech bubble of, I'm your superior, with his hands. That's so cool. Rule number 6, flexible approach. I love these workman's arts. Plus, like, now that he has these moves, either he's going to stay with the crew and, like, be redeemed, or he's going to, like, be kicked off the boat and then come back as, like, an entire faction later on. Like, he'll try to take down the guild. I could see that. That would be such a cool later arc. If it is just like, yeah, I got kicked off the boat, but I know how to train people. So now I have trained a company in order to, like, be competition to the Hunters Guilds. I could see that. Oh, downsizing. Big old thop right to the neck. Okay, it's all up to Mario. How strong are you? I mean, again, we all know everyone has the base level of being able to survive on this boat, but even that, like, that doesn't really mean anything in this situation because both of them have done that. But no, it can't be a gun then. What is this? A mist blower? I win. What the heck? So he made his hair grow. Okay, what the hell is this? Okay, so his mustache got super big, and then he got, like, stuck in some goop. Or yeah, he sprayed like on his like on his shoe. His shoe turned to goo. Then it shattered. Or actually no, this is the other shoe. So one shoe turned to goo, the other one shattered. What the fuck was this? I'm just a humble scientist. So this, I guess, is mold, actually. But what was anything else? Maybe it's just like a growth ability. Like, he grew the mustache, and then grew, like, some microorganisms here, maybe? So they got all big and goopy. But then, what would the shatter be? Because it is, like, it's the other foot. Like, this foot still has all the goo on it. This is the one that, stomped down and then broke. And then this would make sense as, like, you had some mold on you, so I made that grow super fast. Like, he's got, like, a growth serum. I'm Mariopios, the mycologist, and these are my slime associates. Oh, that's so cool! The one that looked like hair was Blackbrush. Okay, so they're all, like, slime molds. That was Blackbrush mold that he presumably got into his mustache at some point. The one that made your left foot slip was Slippery Tree molds, and the one that rusted your metal shoe buckles was Iron Eater molds. That's so cool! Ah! Because, yeah, like, slime molds are, in real life, so fascinating. Like, slime molds are the coolest shit in the world. Like, I will never get over, like, that time-lapse video of seeing a slime mold solve a maze in the most efficient way. And this is the perfect, like, yeah, he can say these are his friends, because at no point is he, like, necessarily killing them. Like, if he's just taking a sample of each of them, and then, you know, using his spray to make it grow, then he's just, you know, helping them reproduce. And if that reproduced mold dies, like, that's, you know, it's not great, but also, like, the original is still fine. Oh, this is such a cool fighting style. Oh, and this explains the, right, the one thing I thought was weird, which was, oh no, what is his name? When our main character was trapped in the cell, and he used a mold in order to, like, signal the, you know, hey, you know, this is how the handcuffs work. Like, it was a, you know, specific color of molds, and that was my big, like, did he just learn how to do that? Like, that is not something we had set up at all. But that makes a lot of sense if that was Mario's idea, and he left him, like, 2 types of mold and said, this is how you make it grow so that you can, like, do the signal. That's so cool! People give me a baffled look and ask me what use my research is. So I thought I'd join the guild and conduct an experiment. I want to know whether or not my research can be a useful tool for hunting monsters. Which, yeah, I mean, depending on the types of molds, that could be really damn useful. I mean, just like, you know, airborne black mold into a monster's, like, lungs would be so deadly for so many of them. And, like, he can disable people, he can, you know, trap them, he can do signals, he can, like, that's so cool. I'm sure he probably has one where, like, you can just eat it and it, like, it helps with digestion or something. Like, there's so many things you could do with mold. This is such a cool concept. I want to be a hunter for my own ambition. I'm much like you in that way. All that's different is our methods. And okay, they are letting him in. Okay, so they're gonna use him. And that is cool. Like, yeah, you don't have to beat anyone up in this test. If you've already stolen handcuffs, then all you have to do is handcuff, you know, someone else, and then they have to go to jail, and then you can just not break them out. Ah. We are all equals. I will not pay you, nor do I expect any payments. Just by joining us, we create a give-and-take relationship that's quite profitable for all involved. What do you say? Will you join us? Not as employer-employee, but as comrades. That's so cool! Because, yeah, also, like I said before, of course this challenge requires them to work together, because what use would it be in joining a guild if your whole ethos is, I don't work with other people, when the whole point of a guild is you work with people? Like, that is the same thing Mario is doing. Like, he is essentially just creating a guild here. It is we're all equal, we all, like, have a stake in this, and we will all, like, you know, like, earn and be successful as a result of this. That's so cool! I'm so curious to see whether this guy is, I've gotta get his name. Moscow. I'm so curious to see if Moscow is going to make it in or not, or if he's just gonna help out here. Because now I'm so curious. Like, if Red Hood goes for the, like, you know, the traditional view of what a guild is, you know, of it being more of a, you know, like, you know, everyone is working together, then I don't think they would let Moscow, like, go for the big, like, now he's also going to capitalize on everything. I feel like it would be more of a, like, the reason why we can't sell Wolfonium is because it's difficult to make, or, like, because we have morals, and the guild is saying, no, we should keep this a trade secret, so you can't just take this out. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, and yeah, because, you know, everyone's hiding and the cops are out, like, you know, getting the people who are hiding, they can just, you know, walk right up to the cell and break them out. Tag, 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 tag. But okay, it's not my plan, it's our plan. Oh, did they use the slimes to get the handcuffs? I don't even remember that. God, Mario is so good already. He is honestly, like, legitimately, this is the kind of aesthetic I really wanted from Leorio in Hunter x Hunter. In that you've got, like, you know, he's the older guy, he is a little weird. Like, Leorio is more of the, like, I'm very young feeling. Like, I mean, and to be fair, Leorio is also the same age as all of them. Like, he's not an adult, he just feels like an adult because he's got this, like, big business energy to him. But I really like the idea of Mario here being the, like, I am actually an older guy, I mean, to be fair, he might also do the same thing as Leorio of, like, no, I'm actually your age. But I really like the idea of it being the, you know, like, the more mature person who believes in everyone and who is willing to work with everyone because he, you know, he buys into them. He's like, yeah, you know what? These kids are the best. And I want to ally myself with them. And I, like, the difference is that Leorio is, like, the heart of the group at times. Whereas Mario feels like he's more of the, like, he's never going to let on how happy he is, but knowing that everyone likes him in his molds is going to make him very happy. It's also so interesting, actually, to think that, like, he's so weirdly neurotic and he's so, like, worried about specific things, but he is so into slime molds. Like, that's so... It's a cool aesthetic. Alright, so now they have 15 people. There's only an hour or so left, so it's time for the robbers to start their counterattack. And there's still, like, with all 15 of them, like, I'm so curious to see how this is gonna go. Like, are we going to... Like, some of them have to just be mobs in the background, right? Like, we can't have them all have unique gimmicks, right? I think that'd be really cool, but also, I'm guessing that it's going to be a, like, we see some of their, like, some of the other ones, like, skills and what they can do, and then we might see some, like, weird background stuff that we don't, like, elaborate on. Because, again, this is, like, they're all going to be let in if this works out. So that would make a lot of sense. Like, once they're all in the guild, then you could do the, like, now the guild has more fodder, though. Like, now we'll see if you survive, if you can actually make it in the field. And that would allow the series to do a lot of, like, now we're going to make this subgroup, and then who knows who will live and who will die in this subgroup. And, yeah, like, that would also allow for a lot of time to then, like, explore these characters and their abilities. So they don't have to establish them all right now. But I would like to, like, just keep up this pace of, like, they don't, some of them feel a little generic, but most of them don't. Like, almost every chapter we're getting, like, a new ability, or a new, like, person's deal. It's keeping it very exciting. Legitimately fantastic chapter. And, yeah, I am so curious to see what happens to Moscow later on. Like, he could either be a big ally or a big, like, mini-boss later on. It could really go either way. Like, he has all the potential to be a villain, but they could also, like, swing him back around. Oh, I'm so curious. And yeah, like, Mario is just a great character. I love him. Fantastic chapter. Like, now we're really getting into iconic territory with Red Hood. Like, this is just, like, this is, if you're going to do the Hunter exams or the Chunin exams or whatever, this is how you do it right. It's so good. Do I put this above the Elusive Samurai? Oh, I just might. Like, I think this is better than Choujin X. I genuinely found this more, like, enjoyable than Choujin X. Even if, like, I like what they did with that chapter, I gotta give Red Hood the edge. And I'll put it right below Elusive Samurai, but I really emotionally enjoyed this week's chapter of Elusive Samurai, so that's going to be a tough one to dethrone. Next we have Neru, Way of the Martial Artist, Chapter 10. Okay. A bamboo flight groove. Interesting. A short arrow is lighter and has less air resistance, giving it greater force and distance. And yeah, so you use the groove in order to, like, when it's, like, picking up speed, it's not, like, going to immediately fly into a random direction. Like, you're giving it way more, like, force, but also you're, like, making it more accurate. Oh, that's a toughie. Because, yeah, this is an insane amount of tension. Can you draw it? But, of course, Neru can't do it. Oh, they gotta work together! That makes so much... Oh, that's so cool! So I wonder if they'll... Yeah, I wonder if they'll shoot both arrows then. Like, if they're both, like, at this. Because, like, theoretically, you could shoot just the front half of the arrow, and then if you sharpen the, like, the other end, you should be able to fire that part as well. So they could just, like, fire both pieces, and then hope, just run back and hope that's accepted as finding 2 red arrows. But yeah, I'm really glad that this is a, like, this is all her idea. She is the one who came up with this. This is her win, and she needs Neru in order to just, like, provide the arm strength. And that is not taking away from her win. And, like, this is also, in a sense, Neru's win, because he doesn't really, like, he's trying, but he already accepted that, she found the arrow. So now this is just, he's helping out because he's a good guy. Let me remember... And yeah, like, even if he knows, her brother's stance, like, even if he knows the perfect archery stance, that doesn't make him a good archer. It just means that he can get out, like, the maximum amount of force. Or, like, he can balance force and distance very well. But, like, without knowing how to actually shoot the arrow, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, this is a gimmick I really, really like, because this is doing something that early Naruto kind of did a little bit and then immediately stopped. Which was the concept of the Sharingan lets you copy any jutsu, including, like, just taijutsu, like straight physical actions. But if your body isn't trained well enough, then obviously you can't do the thing. And that is never, like, that's rarely ever a thing that comes up again in the series. I mean, partially because the Sharingan being able to copy jutsu just kind of stops being like, it is a thing, but it's more just like, a weird little side quirk. It's not important. One of the coolest abilities in the whole series is just sort of, it's just a thing they can do, but they're not gonna do it. But also, like, the idea that, that your body has limitations really only came up after that point for, like, bloodline limits. For stuff where it's like, only literally this person or these two people can do this, therefore, you can't copy it. And that's so much less interesting than, like, if you understand, like, how would I put this? Like, copying a speed move, but changing the nature of the jutsu because you have, a different nature. Or, like, being able to kind of copy it, but going like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to rip my arm off. So I have to then try and tweak it myself. Like, that's something that comes up very early on and then doesn't happen anymore. And that is genuinely something that could be like I'm imagining all of this stuff is going to come up in Neru. Like, Neru can copy all of these forms, but yeah, he can't even hold it, like, right here, because even though he has some strength, like, he's still, he's not strong enough to do this forever, and he is bad at archery, so he would need someone else to help. Like, it's such a good balance to the ability to copy things just by seeing them. And if Neru, like, continues to do that as a series and as a character, I'll be so into it. Clear your minds. Okay, think about going far away. Only think of that. Aim upward. Higher. Wait for the wind to change. Oh, that's cool. Wait a minute. We also use these to assign rooms. So if they shoot both red arrows back, they're both going to be rooming together with her older brother. You'll have to make it back in the next 10 seconds. Oh boy, here we go. God, this visual is so cool too, because even though they said it, I wasn't able to fully understand what they meant by, this increases the draw range on a short arrow. But seeing it, like, seeing this shot and then this shot, like, I get it. I can fully visualize how it works. All right, come on, make it. Swoom, right into his hair. Is this my arrow? Oh, and he's so joyous over this. And yeah, they did shoot it together. Even if they didn't shoot the second arrow, they both shot this one arrow. Oh, and yeah, this was the backhand. I wasn't even thinking about it, but yeah, like, this is the end that has, the feathers that were trimmed in order to give it extra flight and extra, without ruining the stability. Ah. Just picking them up and running with them back. I love him. Ah. Oh, boy, I love this dynamic. Your archery skills and your knowledge, but I'll catch up. And yeah, her heart is hammering. And yeah, this is really a situation where if they fall in love, I'll be happy for them. If they're just friends, I'll be happy for them. But I would be fine with it either way, legitimately. Whereas in so many series, I get either the, like, this is clearly love interest character, and if you don't do love interest with love interest character, then it's pointless. Or, like, they create a character who has something for the main character, but then I look at it and go, well, I can only see them as friends because of the way these characters are written, and because I can just feel narratively like this is not going to happen. But this is neither of those. This is the big, like, I can 100% see them getting together. I think it would be awesome if they got together, and if they don't, I'd still think that'd be pretty cool. But, like, yeah, whatever her feelings end up being. Holy moly! Oh no, I really loved his long hair. Oh, but okay, so they both have victory tokens now. God, this is so cool. I've heard a very unfortunate rumor. Neru, did you see my precious little sister's underwear? Okay, he's banished. Okay. I can't believe that's how we ended the chapter. Like, that is legitimately also the perfect ending. Because that resolves the problem of, how do we put 3 people in this one room? Wouldn't it be too crowded? Like, what's the dynamic going to be? I was excited to see that, but it makes so much sense to just be like, no, Neru, get the fuck out. Because that also makes it entirely her win. Like, in the sense that she got the dorm. But we're showing off yet again that Neru has the skill necessary to, that he could have potentially gotten into the dorm. Like, it's tricky in a series to do our main character's already really, really good from the very start. Because then you have the problem of like, well, why aren't they immediately getting the respect they deserve? Why aren't they, immediately dominating? And I really like what they've been doing with Neru of, like, due to happenstance in the test thing, like, him just filling out the test incorrectly. And then here with, helping her out and, also accidentally seeing her panties and then getting kicked out for that. Like, he's been giving a very hard shake at life, but we can still see how skilled he is. It is making him the underdog without, like, detracting from him as a character. Like, I cannot believe how well I think this works. And yeah, the whole chapter was just so damn good. Because, like, the bow stuff is just really cool. That is just a big, like, I'm happy to have learned about Kudeya. But also, like, just seeing the two of them do this and thinking about, like, the fact that, yeah, Neru has downsides to his ability to, copy anything. Like, copying anything is such a classic ability. And yet, even though this is the most obvious drawback, I've seen so many series, like, just not play it straight or just not focus on it as a, like, obviously, if you are not trained to do the thing, even if you make yourself do the thing, it's not going to be good, or there will be downsides to it. And then also, like, yeah, the fact that, he doesn't have the mental, the mental state of an archer. The fact that, just doing the thing is not the same as understanding why someone does the thing. Like, all of this just makes me so excited. Neru 100 years. I mean, where the fuck do I put Neru now? Because I think this was better than Red Hood. Red Hood was a really good chapter, but I think this was better. Is this better than the Elusive Samurai? Just for sentimentality's sake, I've got to put the Elusive Samurai above this, but damn it. Neru and Hunter's Guild are killing it. I cannot believe how good these two series are. Like, I hope that PPPPP does well, but it definitely does not have the feeling of either of those series. And that is good. Like, if you're going to run something in Jump, you should be looking at what's already in Jump and going, like, I'm going to make my series not what is already there. But at the same time, I'm hoping that it does well. I'm hoping that it wins me over as well. Like, more so than just because it has hearts. Because, like, Neru has hearts. Like, Hunter's Guild has hearts. I don't want to say these series don't have heart, and that's the problem. Like, if something like Neru has this much heart and this much thought about, like, how the characters are going to work out, and this much research into actual, like, martial arts and archery and whatnot, like, in the face of all of that, if PPPPP doesn't, do something to equal that, even if it isn't literally the same things, even if it is just, being fun and, quirky and interesting and different in its own way, like, if it can't, it still needs to be able to stack up. I really want to put this above the Elusive Samurai. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like, Elusive Samurai was very good. It hit me right in the feels. It was a very strong sentimental chapter, but there's something about the two of them working together to shoot this arrow that just really hit me in the heart. I don't know why. I don't know what is, like, it might just be the arts. Like, this just feels so unbelievably instantly iconic. Whereas, like, the thing I really love in the Elusive Samurai is very good and very well told, but it doesn't feel iconic to me. It doesn't have that level of, I will be telling my children about that. Whereas I genuinely feel like I'm going to be telling my kids about Neru. I don't know why I'm not going to get the volumes for them. I don't know why they can only experience Neru through me telling them this. But that's the feeling I get. Like, even something like Noah's Notes, I do genuinely think, like, maybe not I'll tell my kids the plot of Noah's Notes, but I feel like in the future I'll still be describing the plot of Noah's Notes to people as a, like, hey, here's a really cool concept for a series that I once read. Oh boy, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Neru is above Elusive Samurai. With that, let us move on to Undead Unluck, Chapter 79. Interesting. So this is chapter 1. But this is something we hadn't seen before, which is Andy's perspective here. And of course, if he was standing here while everyone's, like, watching this girl trying to commit suicide, he is naked. We knew he was naked. So this is also, like, he wasn't just, like, bounding across rooftops when he saw her. No, he was here. He was standing here. People were just like, yeah, there's this weird naked guy drinking a boba tea. At first, I was planning on messing with her. Undead Unluck. In spite of that, I mean, I think that this does actually work as, like, whatever it's going to be in the chapter, but also just as this moment. At first, I was planning on messing it with her. In spite of that, I also, Is this not iconic? That feel when you finally read all your manga and you're about to commit suicide, but then a shirtless guy shows up and you stab him, and he's like, no, it's fine. Also, I'm gonna kidnap you now. Alright, Andy's reformed himself since the big high five with Top. I won't let you see Fuko. Alright, going all in. Yeah, the loop device arc would be easier to steal. God, I love that these are physical blades being shot out of Blade Runner. It's so cool. Oh, and this is, yeah, so this is Andy losing his cool. Like, this is Andy not sticking to the plan just for a sec and being having to be reminded, hey, there's a plan here. This is your plan. You chose, you said that we would be able to do this, so you have to leave now. We're doing it, but only once. What is this gonna be? Oh, okay, so I guess, yeah, Lottla's like smacking the blades around with Blade Runner to make them faster. Slash, to also scatter them more. Is it time for Tatiana to pop out already? Like, how do you knock all these away? Like, with Andy, it's fine. Like, they'll hold him up for a bit, but he'll be fine. Tatiana might, if it damages her thing, then she won't be contained anyways. The main problem is honestly Juiz. Like, there's no way you can unjustice this Crescent Rain away. Right. And these, yeah, Rip shot them, so they do have unrepaired to. I didn't even think about that. Fuck, I forgot that, yeah, that's the whole point of this. That is why Rip would want to cut Andy, because Andy won't be able to heal it. If you use your Unjustice, I'll end up targeting Lottla, but the deflected slashes will come after you anyway. God, that's so good. And why is Bunny here? Like, in this group in particular? Like, we know Bunny can, like, absorb weapons. So, is Bunny just here as a, like, if they, get in close, then we'll steal their artifacts thing? Or, like, why? Like, why would Lottla need someone else with her? At first, I was fueled by curiosity. But once I saw that meteorite, I thought I actually stood a chance of dying. That's why I hit on her. That's why I protected her. I really love this, because also, I'm not that hot on the first chapter of Undead Unluck, and, like, the early part of the series, like, it's well drawn, it's well done, but, like, the vibe of the first chapter, especially, like, how pervy Andy is, does not really carry over to the rest of the series. Like, he's still hitting on her, but it is fundamentally very different. And I think this is legitimately a really good way of showing that. Like, without decanonizing anything. It is a clear, like, yeah, he was genuinely lusted with the desire to die. He wanted, he wanted her power for that reason. And he was being lewd and hitting on her, like, once he knew about that, specifically to cause that reaction. Because he wanted her to, to fall in love with her, with him, and create more unluck and then kill him. Even then, actually, I'm not sure if, did they fully understand that? I think they did. I think that was already revealed. That, she kills the people she loves. But yeah, like, I really like, just clarifying that it was because he was being skeezy on purpose. Like, the feelings he had then were not the same as the feelings he had now. I soon realized I was sure that not even you could kill me. You won't be able to kill me. In spite of that. I want to see you. Like, yeah, he wants her not as an instrument, not because she can kill him. That was the initial premise of the series, but that is not what the series is now. You cutting off sections of your body to attack is an act of repair to you. Interesting. So, he was able to do it before because of his lack of understanding. Now that you have a deeper knowledge of the rules, you won't be able to do that anymore. Like, it is a fundamental, like, it isn't as simple as just, if you change your way of thinking, and then you can do this. It is a fundamental, if you don't know, then you can, bypass certain rules. But once you know, like, it is impossible to take it back. Although, okay, wild theory. What if that part of the rules is why Victor originally, like, shoved the card into his head and, like, created Andy? What if there is something that, what if Victor hit this endgame of, yes, I do want to kill Juiz because I want to free the woman I love from the suffering of, doing this over and over and over again. But also, I know too much. I've been here since the start. I know all of the rules, and that makes me unbelievably strong. But that also means that, there are certain things I just cannot do because I am fully aware of all the rules. So if I give myself amnesia, and I just, like, point my, my amnesiac self in the right direction, then maybe he will be able to do this because he does not understand. Because that would also actually, that would be a good reason to explain why Victor, like, in addition to just trying to kill Fuko, why he, like, pushed her out of, his memories in time. Because it is a fundamental, like, Andy is experiencing all of this as well. If Andy accesses those memories of Victor and he learns about certain things, then he wouldn't be able to bypass those rules. But okay, he's gonna just rocket his head. Just like you, I've got myself a person I'd risk it all for. Okay, healed back up. So, yeah, I'm taking this as a, like, it has no effect. It is a hard, like, this should not work this shouldn't work, like, because of what Andy has learned, like, his understanding of unrepair should make unrepair more effective on him, but Andy is still so bullheaded he refuses to let it work like that. Is she just gonna eject one panel? I may not like it, but you're the right guy for Fuko, so hurry up and go get her. Spoo. Don't go get in the way of romance. And also, I didn't say it, but happy to see the big return of the censor bar. Censor bar here is at an angle. I mean, oh boy, I noticed it here. I didn't notice it here, actually. I love that between these two angles, we can see the exact angle of Andy's dick in 3D space. Like, from this shot and, from the side profile. We know it has to be at an angle, it has to be slanted this way, but also because he is, being pushed forward, the air is, like, pushing it down, so it's, like, almost flat with his body. But to be fair, yeah, it's gotta be, like, hanging down here. I used to be content with just winning your hearts. Hey, I love you, Fuko. God, what a solid confession scene. And he, like, grew a blood blade out of his stump so he could, like, slash his arm here. So he's just ready to immediately rocket this right into Billy. Now, that is an iconic confession scene. And yeah, I'm really glad that, a few chapters ago, we had the, like, Fuko just walking through the whale base and realizing that, oh, yeah, I really do love Andy. And now this was the flip side. This is, fully reconciling Andy as a person. And again, like, I really appreciate that we got to not even recontextualize the first few chapters. I guess that is what it is. But it's more like just clarification. It is a clear statement of, this is how you are supposed to read the first few chapters. Yes, this is not what Andy is like going forward. Yes, that is because he has changed. And also, because he was genuinely just trying to use Fuko. Like, the person he is now and the relationship they have now is just fundamentally different from the first two chapters. It is also very cool seeing him, like, regrow himself over the course of these pages. Like, starting as a head, then immediately getting the torso, and then, like, growing. So cool. I mean, Andy is just one of the coolest characters in Shonen Jump. Like, both, like, just in design, in movement, in what his capabilities are. I'm gonna say that, I still do not respect the Blood Blades. I still think that is a step too far in terms of this is what you can do if you are undead, but I'll accept it. Because also, it does make him unique. It is a clear, like, this is, like, this is an Andy staple. You could have another, like, regenerating character who can do a lot of the cool tricks that he can do. But the blades are a clear, like, if another series did that, then you would go, okay, this is an Undead Unluck reference. Or this is an Undead Unluck ripoff, depending on how they play it. Also, imagine your confession scene being, you are staring down, you are unaware of what is happening until you see your boyfriend upside down, having flown up to you on his own blood, slashing his wrist in order to shoot his arm at the person kidnapping you. God. Again, iconic. Instantly iconic. Perfect panel. Gorgeous 10 out of 10. Gorgeous page, honestly. Like, I really love this big panel, but, like, you need the panels here and here as well to fully get it. Undead Unluck is good. Now, where do I put this chapter? Because I love it, and it did give me the big, like, understanding Andy even more. Plus, we got to see Rip being cool as fuck, like, Rip and Lotla doing a cool combo move. And we have that little, that intriguing little, like, how does this work? Like, Rip's logic makes sense here, but we clearly understand that does not quite apply to Andy. But then, like, what is the deeper meaning behind this? Like, it's the kind of stuff where, like, I don't want the answer right now. I'm happy to, like, stitch it together over time. Yeah, I'm getting pretty confident. I'm sure people have already thought about this for a while now, but I'm very confident in the, like, Andy is the purpose of Andy is Victor, trying to reset his body to a point where, there can be another undead who knows less about the world and therefore can do things he can't. And then I imagine at this point he's given up on Andy because he can, he knows what Andy's thought process is. He's like, yeah, you know what, you're not nearly far along enough to do what needs to be done, so I'm gonna give up. And then, the pre-autumn fight was him realizing, like, okay, you know what, maybe I will give you a chance. You are capable of surpassing me. Yeah, where do I put this chapter? Because, like, this was as good as Neru, but it's blowing my mind that I can say that. I can say that as if, Neru is, making me feel as good as this. And then Elusive Samurai was also really damn strong. I mean, I'm a sucker for the big, rush towards the confession moments. And this was so action-packed. This was so genuinely exciting. I mean, this chapter has a lot of the same stuff I liked in the Elusive Samurai chapter. But I think this one does it a little bit better. It's a little more heightened, a little more exciting. I like the characters a little bit more. Like, for all that I enjoy Elusive Samurai, I still don't care that much about most of the casts. Like, I understand their gimmicks and I think they're cool, but, like, one of the main characters is someone who I just very recently started liking because he got a bunch of focus. So yeah, I've got to give it to Undead Unluck, but I'm still putting Neru on top. And yeah, I think we're going to get this. I think Andy is going to grab Fuko and, take her physically away. And then I think Billy's going to follow, and then we'll cut to another fight. Like, we'll see what Tatiana and Juiz are going to do after this. Or we're going to cut to another one of the factions. Or, like, I think Nico's probably not going to get a lot of focus. I feel like Nico's just up there to fight the radar guy. But yeah, I think we'll resolve this a tiny little bit and then cut away and then do something else. And then we'll, like, cut back here, like, closer to, the moment where we're going to definitively, like, not beat Billy forever, but, like, we'll learn something very big about Billy. Billy will be kept away from Andy and Fuko, or he'll have to admit, like, okay, like, the spring can't be defeated unless, like, Unluck is necessary for this, so we will let you do this time. Or it might just, they might just continuously be fighting as, as the Union gets closer and closer, just, fighting Spring alongside that. Like, they might just beat down a bunch of the under members, and then, have their forces go to, like, try and, like, get Autumn down from the pole at the very least, or, like, figure out what its abilities are. Like, get a little more intel on it, and then Fuko will have to find a way to love, did I say Autumn before? I meant Spring. She'll have to find a way to, in the moment, love Spring and then kill him. Which I think, like, especially since we've brought back, Andy's original desire, that'd be a really cool way to show that Fuko has grown into the kind of person who could, like, on demand, create this powerful love and then use it to kill someone immediately. Like, she is the person who could have, in Chapter 1, just instantly killed Andy. But because they love each other and because they want to be there for each other, she won't instantly kill Andy. Like, their feelings have fundamentally changed. Their desires have changed, and they've both grown far beyond where they were at that point. Anyways, that's Undead Unluck. Next is Dr. Stone, Chapter 211. Building that rocket. Okay, we'll finish off our City Founding World Tour with this final stop. Okay, so we do just have one left. Did they do the one in China? Or was there even one in China? Well, no, I thought China was Math City, but that was actually India. I thought... Wasn't China, like, Semiconductor City, though? Well, I guess they have Semiconductor City. Ah, boy. But okay, they're going to Indonesia. Which one was Indonesia? Oh, boy. What were the cities again? I can't look it up because I know I'll immediately be spoiled then. Rubber trees. Okay, right, Rubber City. Cool. Tap those trees, get that rubber. Boy. You know what, I'm pretty disappointed with this one. Like, the idea, like, I really wanted every city to be an arc. Like, it seems insane to, like, found entire cities and have that just be a throwaway thing. Like, this is one page. It's not even the entire page. It is, we founded this city, and now we are doing the big splash page of, here are all the cities we founded, and now we're almost done. Okay, so, actually, So that's Math/Fuel City. And Florid City was up there. Okay, I see. Yeah, they did it, but it does not feel like they did it. Like, the arc that felt the best was legitimately, like, Corn City/Super Alloy City. Like, I was fine with Super Alloy City being yes, we did revive a bunch of people, but we didn't really focus on it, because I thought we were going to focus more on all the others. And that was the, we've just spent a lot of time in South America, for the second half of the Fighting the Americans arc. I thought that was okay, but the rest of these cities have been very disappointing. Yeah, it's nearly time for our triumphant return to Japan. Perhaps we will finally get closure on Chalk Quest. I mean, damn, there's also no travel time in this. This is just boom, boom, boom. We founded the city. Here's all the cities. We're going back to Japan. We are back at Japan. Now we're here. The whole world will unite for this effort. Might be a first in human history. Not that we planned it that way. Meanwhile, Chrome in the background is like, I've got to also find a way to make a round-trip rocket. But I am glad, before I was saying, he has to have some sort of, pod or something that'll take it back. But, I mean, I still don't know how the hell they're going to do this. It cannot be the thing they said of Chrome is going to, on the side, build a second entire thing. It has to just be he figures out a way to make their initial rocket strong enough in a very short span of time, and so that rocket becomes the round-trip rockets. Sounds like we better revive heaps of folks for the hard labor of the building the rocket back in Japan. God damn it, Chelsea, stop. Shut up, leave. We've done the world tour. We've done all the geography we need. That's enough. No more geology, no more geography. Remove Chelsea. But okay, so they're gonna make some Japanese food. Also, Kohaku with this extremely smug expression, she says, and here I thought you just desired some tasty meals. Japan's comfort food is rice. So, okay, I mean, is it rice season in Japan? Oh, actually, no. Okay, I see. I thought this scene was them going back to Japan. I mean, actually, did they? This looks like a transition back to Japan. So, I guess, yeah. Are they in Japan? Because, I was questioning this because I read the line, rice is ready to be harvested in April after the rainy season, hence saving this location for last this precise time of year. I thought what they meant was we were saving Indonesia for last, so we could be here right during the rainy season and then get all this rice. And that still could be the case. I don't know where they are. Thank you, Science Consultant Karare. Who? Are these actual dwarves? Like the species from Lord of the Rings? I mean, to be fair, that is Kaseki's whole energy. I can't believe they made an entire, automatic rice harvester. That is cool. Considering how much, rice there is here, it is a real, it would be faster for them to just make a rice harvester now that they, have the technology down pat than it would be for them to just, do the hellish labor. Or, revive a bunch of people and then make them all do the hellish labor. Huh. Someone tell Kohaku about weather. Because, yeah, they kind of just, skimmed over the, how does this land escape winter? And I see they're using that top-notch fertilizer. I mean, even then, that's not completely sustainable. I know in South America, there's a big problem with, over-fertilizing your fields, and then, essentially, if you try to squeeze too many harvests out of a field, in a short span of time, even if you are near the equator, you can just wreck the fields. To the point where they cannot properly be, you can't just keep on re-fertilizing them. The soil itself just gets all, burnt out and bad. But maybe 3 times for 3 harvests is, that is the safe limit. If you hit, 4 times for 4 harvests, that'd be the big dangerous one. Ah, albatross guano, I see. So much rice. Oh, it's a good indica strain rice. Ah. So, it resembles Japanese rice. So you can make all your fancy Japanese rice dishes. You can make your sushi and your nigiri and whatnot. Yeah. That was everything. I was going to say, will they be able to, make comfort food with this rice? But okay, that's pretty cool. And that also means they can, immediately, harvest this rice. See, the thing I hate about this is the fact that, all the people that are going to live here and make this, a rubber city are all shadowed out. It's a real, yeah, these people don't matter. Whereas at the very least for, what was the one right after South America? It was somewhere in Europe. But even that one, at the very least, we saw some locals. They gave it some, they're leaving a city here. Whereas this one just feels like they came here and did some shit. But okay, now, in fact, we are going back to Japan. Remaining time to complete the lap around the world, 2 days. Wait, what do you mean remaining time? Wait a minute, was there a time limit? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Like, do they mean time until they get to Japan? Like, yeah, it can't be a time limit. There wasn't a time limit. I read that initially as, like, before I had my outburst, I did read it as just, like, it's 2 days until they get to Japan. But remaining time to complete the lap around the world sounds like there's a time limit. Which would be wild considering, they've spent 10 years away from Japan. That's a real, like, if we knew about a time limit, when they left Japan, it'd be long since gone now. And you know what? This moment has a bit of a parallel to a scene from the Elusive Samurai this week that I really liked. Like, this whole chapter, in a way. But this just didn't have soul to it, honestly. I wasn't feeling it. Both, like, I wasn't feeling the idea of them founding a whole city, because they really just kind of, like, swept by it. It felt like they were just, like, they were just, like, out in a rice field. It would be exactly the same as if they had just, like, stopped on a small island that just happened to have a rice field, and they just, like, harvested and replanted a bunch of rice. It does not feel like they founded a autonomous city here. That also, like, we didn't set this up with a, like, we are feeling homesick. They set it up with just a, like, yeah, when we go to Japan, we're gonna work their asses off, and if they're, we're gonna have to have something for them to, to keep everyone's morale up, so we'll plant rice. But that doesn't feel good, you know? Like, it doesn't have, like, I don't want to spoil this week's Elusive Samurai, but, like, this week's Elusive Samurai was very simple. It was focused mostly on, like, like I was saying in that, like, this reminds me of Dr. Stone, funnily enough. That was a really interesting coincidence, but yeah. That reminds me of an earlier Dr. Stone, a Dr. Stone that, was less rushed with everything. Like, this week's Elusive Samurai nailed that feeling of, someone wants a thing, so we're going to go above and beyond to get that thing. And that's kind of what this chapter is, but there is no clear, we want rice. It is just, people who are going to crack out a stone are going to want this rice. So we are going to make the rice now. And, like, we get a little of that with Ukyo, with, his big emotional moment eating the onigiri. But even that, like, if they had started the chapter with Ukyo saying, I want to eat onigiri, that would hit harder to me than this. Because this is a fundamental, like, we're just, like, making food for the troops, essentially. And then, yes, Ukyo is happy, but, like, it does not feel that emotionally impactful, even though this is really cool and really big. Like, it feels too pompous. It feels too big. It feels too much like Senku's whole, like, like they said to Senku over here. Like, you're allowed to show some human emotion, I would say that for this chapter, legitimately. This chapter feels like it is restraining its human emotion in order to seem more cool and more bombastic than it needs to be. Whereas, like, this week's Elusive Samurai, and I think you could read this week's Elusive Samurai without reading the Elusive Samurai, honestly. Like, just if you're curious to understand what I'm trying to say, like, this week's thing had, like, it was also, we're going to do this really big thing for someone, and it was just stuffed with human emotion, and it really got me. It got me in a way that Elusive Samurai usually doesn't. And I cannot say this chapter was as good as that chapter. Like, having them both be in the same issue has really made that apparent to me. I still really like Dr. Stone, but a lot of the stuff I haven't liked about Dr. Stone is starting to, like, build up. It's still nowhere near, like, dropping status, to be fair, but I don't know, like, if I'm not feeling it as much, I might, just, like, put it on break for a little bit and then, like, do a big binge read later on. Because, yeah, I don't know if these are good reactions, even. Like, I hope it's fun as, like, a critical reaction, but I don't know. With that, yeah, like, so I said I did not like it as much as the Elusive Samurai, so it has to, at the very least, be here, but realistically, like, that final city is really hitting me with a big disappointment. Like, just the fact that it is not a city, it feels like they just, like, farmed some rice in a field. Yeah, it's a real, like, we had to diminish this one thing to do this other thing, but then even that other thing didn't hit well, so yeah, I'm gonna say I did not like this as much as, realistically, like, Black Clover. This chapter of Sakamoto Days was like, Sakamoto Days is, in general, like, I like it, but I don't like it it's not outstanding to me all the time. Sometimes it's really, really good, but sometimes it's, just solid. I'll put this above Sakamoto Days. Come on, Dr. Stone. I want to believe in you. Next, we've got My Hero Academia, chapter 326. So, All Might's driving off. Deku has been taken into UA, but we don't know if he knows that yet. And all he's thinking about is, the fact that he talked up a big game. He said he was going to protect Deku, but when it came down to it, Deku ran off on his own. He's been working himself to the bone, and Toshinori cannot stop him from doing that. Number 326. Who are you, really? I really love how much we have focused on this statue in the I am not here placard. Like, I'm so glad this wasn't just a thing in the background. You can live, you can be here for a lot of people. That's all the push they need. Ah! Dude! Oh, this is a real... People have been wanting this for hundreds of chapters, and it's finally happening. What vile blasphemy against a great hero. Ah. And does he know? Like, is this a vile blasphemy as in, like, you are no longer All Might, and so I don't respect you? Or is this a genuine, I genuinely don't actually know who you are? Our face-to-face meeting got delayed, but I never imagined we'd meet like this. Yeah, okay, so he's saying he's All Might. You're not All Might. And even then, I wouldn't accept this as being an explanation of, oh, I guess you're All Might. Like, in a world full of quirks, it makes way more sense of just, like, you're a shapeshifter. Or, something else. You can use illusions or something. Oh, you're not All Might, you sham! Here upon a hero holy ground, you dare to falsely claim the mantle of hero. Who are you really? Why presume to call yourself a hero? Speak! God, this is a conversation I have wanted for so long, and I'm really glad that Stain is doing this not as a, like, I'm glad to meet my hero, but as a, I genuinely don't think you're All Might. And Toshinori is, like, he is in this moment already humbled, so he can't, like, just, yell back at him. It is a clear, like, yeah, I'm just going to say why I feel like I was a hero, or I am a hero. My whole life I felt spurred to action. I couldn't sit back and accept it when the madness kept taking from people, when their daily lives were stolen away so senselessly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's young Toshinori. Powerless though I was, I refused to sit on the sidelines. I had to make the world a better place somehow, but I've run my course now, and this is the end result. God damn. I mean, I get it. This is the real, you did everything, you tried to play your part, but in the end, like, I get why, because this is, honestly, this is the big version of what Deku was feeling. Like, Deku gets it from All Might. That, that feeling of putting the world on his shoulders and thinking he has to be everything for everyone. And this is that, but, like, less personal, but more magnified. Deku, didn't think that all of this was his fault, but he did think of it as his responsibility. Whereas, yeah, Toshinori being the person who said to the world, who promised to all of Japan, I am here, you are safe. Now he is around, he physically exists, but everything has gone back to shit. I'd give my life in an instant to protect my disciple, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him to take time for himself. That is the most, like, yeah, it would be easier to jump in and dodge, and take a bullet and just straight up die than to have the conversation of, I see what's happening to you, and it's very real, and your mental health is at risk, and you need to take care of yourself. I mean, he's not gonna just kill Toshinori, right? There's no way. Big hug. Or big, like, drag away, rather. Ideal timing, behold. Okay. Until they get the message. Does that mean that actually this has not been the same sign? I was thinking of it as the iconic I am not here sign. But okay, so she has, like, not only is she taking it down this time, but, by saying they did it again, like, she's done this more than once. And they keep on putting up the I am not here sign. Every day, she purges the blasphemy erected by the hero detractors. She likely travels from a nearby shelter and causes no small inconvenience to those in charge. That woman was the last person All Might saved. Right, in Kamino, like, yeah. She was the one under the rubble. Oh, that's so cool! In the worst of times, All Might would maintain that grin and devote every fiber of his being to the people. It had nothing to do with powers or quirks. The man we knew as All Might could not live his life any other way. He carved those ideals into his very soul and was lauded for it. Who are you to presume to know the first thing about All Might? No, look upon that woman. The end result, you say? His influence lives on. Oh, this is so perfect! I can't believe we're getting this from Stain. Like, Stain is, he is the guy who believes even more than All Might in the ideal of All Might, to the point of it being poisonous. To the point of him going, I would rather kill heroes who do not, maintain the same ideal than I would, just have heroes around. And, this is the perfect environment for him. As I was saying constantly throughout the, the downfall of Japan. It was, heroes escape, resigning just because they're like, no, people don't like me anymore, so I'm going to retire, or, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do this, I'm not a celebrity. Those are all the people Stain hated. And the people who are still out here are ones closer to his ideal, but even then, I don't think his ideal is reasonable. That is also, he is, saying the same thing that, he is, basically saying, you should be this, this thing that is not human, this absolute ideal of being a hero, which is the opposite of what we've been getting from the Deku thing. And it is I really appreciate this for being written like Stain. I've seen little mini fan comics, with Stain in them, and they never quite get him right. They don't have that fanaticism to him. But this is legitimately perfect. The flickering ember he left behind is nurtured by those select few who succumb neither to chilling rain nor howling wind, until the ember grows anew into a roaring blaze. The people must not let that fire die out. No matter how undignified the struggle, they must stoke the flame so long as they draw breath. And she's scrubbing down the statue too, just getting the dirt off. Doing my best. You too, okay? A hero can only claim that title as long as his soul burns fiercely in service of others. However, say a god has fallen, prostrate upon the earth, and his divine soul is turned feeble and mortal. Okay. And so this is a mix. It is the I'm not saying that I believe you or not. I'm just saying, let's say you're All Might. He might have, a bit of a hint to that. He might believe it in some respect. But even then, it is a clear, even if you are All Might, that you are not All Might. The All Might that I respect is, more an ideal than anything else. He is unrealistic. He is the only standard to which I would hold heroes. And okay, leaving him some information. Then come for the life of Stain, the man who murdered 40 heroes, all for the sake of fixing the society. Okay, so what is this information? What could he have obtained? And I do love that he's leaving on this note, a note of I know that you can't fight me now, but if you're really a hero, then come fight and kill me. That is, again, that is what he wanted from the, in his arc. It was a clear, none of you can stop me. The only person who I will allow to stop me is All Might. It is a clear, I am doing a service. I do not think I am a good person. I think I am committing evil. I am a villain. I am cleaning up scum. I am, getting rid of people who I hate and who do not deserve to be heroes, but I should not be allowed to exist. The work I am doing is, fanatical and, ridiculous in nature, and I should be killed by All Might. It's so extreme, and yet it is, it's so consistent. Oh, god damn. So good. I'm so curious as to what this information is. And I'm really glad they got to have this talk. Because, yeah, this is the ultimate, restoking that flame. This is the ultimate, you should not tell this to Deku. This is wild. But this is, this is the spirit of what you're trying to do. And that spirit lives on. Not just in this fanatic, but in a normal person who is still, driven to do something very abnormal. Because she still believes in the dream. Yeah, this is perfect. I'm very, very happy that, even if he kind of, believed that this was All Might, even if it's ambiguous, I'm really glad that the way he talks to Toshinori for this whole thing is a clear, you are not All Might. I am not going to fanboy over you in the slightest. I'm going to still fanboy over All Might. Because this is also the epitome of the, your friend says something really shitty about themselves, and you stop them and you say, hey, that's my friend you're talking about. This is the ultimate. Toshinori says shit about All Might, and then Stain comes in out of nowhere and screams, fuck you, that's All Might you're talking about. Such a good chapter. Oh my god. Oh, but I mean, it's up against very stiff competition this week. I mean, does it go above Neru? Like, as good as this chapter is, I feel like I've got to. I feel like this is, like, it's a chapter everyone has wanted forever. This is the big, like, if the last few chapters have been the big turning point for, the end of the dark age of Deku, then this is like the turning point of the ending of the dark age of Toshinori. This is the big, like, you created, you are not All Might. You have created this ideal that is All Might, and that ideal is still here. Even if you are not there, even if All Might as a person can't fix this, like, that ideal is still important, and that ideal will still see people through this. Like, it can't do it alone. Actual, heroes have to come in and help, and, the citizens of society have to rise up and do as much work as the heroes are doing. Like, no one is allowed to slack off. All Might cannot be, the big daddy who shows up and makes everything all better effortlessly. But, that memory, that spirit of All Might can still be here and still unite everyone. Like, this works so well thematically with this entire arc. I'm so happy this happens. Like, if this is the epilogue to this arc, then it's perfect. Or, like, the falling action at the very least. Ah, god damn Horikoshi. So good. I've got to put it at the top. My Hero is genuinely just a series I adore, and this was such a good chapter of it. Like, Neru and Undead Unluck were really good, but I've got to give it to MHA. I gotta. Alright, so that is MHA. Fantastic chapter. I can only guess that we're going to have to calm things down and do a bit of a time skip. Like, not a actual, like, big time skip, but just a, like, a few days pass. I think we're going to get to, like, Deku's finally taken his shower, he's finally cleaned up, he's breathing normally, he can, like, learn about what's been going on. I think we're gonna have to do a big, like, here is the state of Japan right now. Like, here's how the evacuations have made things better. And then, like, as we get to a newish normal, and, we see where the villains are, we see where, the big hotspots of villain activity are, and, like, the biggest problems out there right now, then I think we can have Toshinori show up at UA and say, hey, Stain gave me this paper. It's important. It's got all for one secret weakness. He can't eat rice. Or whatever this could possibly be. I don't know what he could possibly have learned in Tartarus. Because, like, he was in, like, a confined cell to himself. So I guess it had to have been, like, just, like, chatter from the guards or chatter from, like, a visitor or something. Either that or, like, maybe, when the breakout happened, he was, killing people in Tartarus, and he was, like, hiding in the shadows, and he heard something important. Yeah, that makes more sense, actually, than it being just, like, stuff he collected over time in Tartarus. Because, again, like, yeah, the way the cells are set up, there's no way that'd be possible. I think it has to just be, from the last moments before he escaped. God damn. Okay, that is My Hero Academia. Such a good chapter. One more manga, and then we got the comments. Let's move to Me and Roboco, Chapter 57, Millie and Roboco. Who is Millie? Was Millie Roboco's sister? I don't think so. Even then, it might... Was that chapter called... I think it was, like... Yeah, I think her name ended in Co. It was a something Co and Roboco. Because, yeah, the gag was, like, her sister was a way better order maid. So, Millie, I guess, is just a new character. Not super into this color page. It's very generic. But maybe it'll have more kick once I've read the chapter. You guys are my one and only. Guys, plural. Oh... I mean, yeah, they got their asses beat, but that happens every day. Wait, it has been quite some time, Roboco-senpai. I'm sorry, who? I guess this is Millie, but then who is this? That's Roboco's junior. They've got Den on their chests. Millie! What are you playing at with that outfit, that innocent face, that trivial chatter? Oh, are we getting the serious battle shonen that is Roboco? Millie served under me during my time on the battlefield. Come on, Bondo. She talks about this like every couple of chapters. Millie isn't an order maid like me or Mako. She's a military robot. At the time, she was second only to me in ability, but I'm sure she's gotten stronger since then. I mean, not just that, but she is, like, Roboco is stating specifically, I am an order maid, even though we also know Roboco predates order maids. I'm betting that Mr. Shibata is like their handler or something. But okay. I looked up to you, your incredible strength, your leadership. When it came to methodically accomplishing the mission objectives, you were unmatched. Yeah, this is not Roboco. She can barely be unmatched at anything. I'm sorry, she can barely be good at anything. Although, to be fair, maybe this is a classic situation of all of her power, all of her abilities have all been fine-tuned for massacre. And as a result, if she tries to do anything vaguely order matey, or even just like, normal stuff, she just sucks really bad at it, because she can only use like 1% of her potential, because the other 99% is all in murder millions of people. Once she single-handedly ended the war, Roboco Senpai vanished. I was sure she'd ascended some lofty height I could never hope to reach. But then one day, she's an idol! I love how many times this idol chapter has come back up. Like the fact that it is just canon, but like, everything in Roboco is canon to some degree. Like, it all happened. They do callbacks sometimes. But the idol thing is the biggest, like, yeah, she was world famous. And that the fallout from her being world famous has kept on coming back up as yeah, obviously you would know her from her time as an idol, as opposed to, like, any of the other, like, little things she has tried. Also, were you useful at all then? If you were second in command to her, but she single-handedly ended the war. Roboco Senpai would never wear something so embarrassing. You human bastards are ordering her to do this, aren't you? No, she showed up like this. No! Oh no, Bondo's gonna get his ass beat. You no longer need to do as the humans tell you. Join us, Roboco Senpai. Ah, it's pronounced Eden. Okay, our organization exists to bring about the demise of humanity and create a world by and for robots alone. Today, on Eden's orders, I have come to recruit you. I mean, I'm sure Roboco's gonna be able to beat her ass, even if she's wearing the suits. Oh no, oh no, oh no! The net salary is 300,000 a month. Now, is that 300,000 yen? Because, I mean, still, that's $3,000 a month, but that's not that much. That's not enough to, like, abandon all of your friends and family over. No, no, no! And that's net after takes? I mean, to be fair, net... Yeah, like, a net income of $3,000 a month is still pretty damn good, but it's still only good. It's not ridiculous. It does not betray your friends and family levels. Oh no. At least Bondo remembers this, that, Roboco is awful and has no shame. She very much might kill him. She might absolutely kill him. She might destroy this entire city if it means getting $3,000 a month. No forced overtime, weekends always off, guaranteed 5-day work week, a complete health insurance package, a living expenses allowance that includes a lunch subsidy, easy scheduling, paid vacations, use of company housing, and performance-based salary bonuses. This sounds like the greatest organization. I get it. The robots understand it. Humanity sucks ass. Oh, I see. So when can I start, is what I bet you expected me to say. Sorry to break it to you, but I've put my violent past behind me. These days, the most important thing to me is being cute. I mean, to be fair, that does track pretty well. Like, all her internal fantasies are, I want to be the love interest, and I want everyone to think I'm cute, and I want people to think rather, I don't even want people to think this. I just know that my knees are extremely cute, and everyone loves my knees. You might be stronger than me, but you can't top me in cuteness. War is the only thing that makes me feel alive, and now you're cute. Oh, boy. Like, again, I don't want the series to go down the serious shonen path. I don't think it's really going to. But I do want at some point a flashback to the war. I want new Roboco to meet old Roboco. I'm so curious. No? So she wasn't just doing a bit. She was the war is the only thing that makes me feel alive kind of person. You never let anyone get close claiming one is stronger when alone, and now you're cute! You used to call yourself one? Oh boy! You chose the path of violence. You told me, stay away from me, lest you never escape the spiral of slaughter, and now you're cute! I mean, it doesn't seem like she was chuny, though. Like, she's acting as if this is a big chuny thing, but it seems like, no, she could back it up. Okay, time to bring her in by force. I was looking forward to fighting the Roboco. What a disappointment. Get ready to fall before the immaculate technique of a true badass. Calling yourself a badass is on the same level as a girl calling herself cute, if you ask me. These two panels are extreme Roboco. I love it. Oh boy. Ah, the eye can't keep up with an ultra high-speed strike like that. No, Roboco! No! Oh no! My strike had no effect. My cuteness had no effect. No, if I can be cuter, it'll be impossible for him to attack. Oh boy, what's on these panties? Show me these panties. Dark Swamp. I do not know this reference. No, get out of the way! Now, is this cuteness? Or I guess the point of these, like the, running to school and then you trip on a girl and then the girl flies in the air and smacks her butt against your face. Like, that is supposed to be cute. So I guess this is extreme cute. Meet cute! Oh crap, he's not breathing. I mean, he is a robot though. Is he supposed to be breathing? Millie, this is the power of cuteness. In the end, Millie still loves Roboco. Ah, the perfect ending. Roboco acts like an insane gag character. Millie inexplicably is still in love with her. Also, there is an organization trying to eliminate all of humanity, but we're not going to talk about that most of the time. Like, genuinely, as long as we do maintain that status quo of, we don't talk about it, but there is an organization trying to destroy all of humanity, I'm fine with it. This is a pretty solid me and Roboco. It's, I don't know, these gags, though, I think fell too deeply into, like, this is just generic gag manga, though. It didn't have that Roboco level of going beyond. It wasn't quite, better than, it didn't have that extra layer of, I can't believe this is happening. Like, it still was very funny, but, like, yeah, it's not a 10 out of 10 Roboco. As for placements, I mean, so many of these were really damn good. I'm gonna put it, it's either above or below Dr. Stone. I think I'm gonna put it above Dr. Stone. This week's Black Clover was really, really damn good. So, yeah, I cannot justify putting it below, above Black Clover. Above Dr. Stone makes sense, and then, even Dr. Stone's Sakamoto Days PPPPPP. I think that's fine for what it is. Yeah, I'll leave it there. That makes sense to me. So, author comments, then we're done. Sorry, I mean, of course, the manga musings, also known as the Mangaka Comments. Oh, this is getting so messy. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me this chance to have a series. I'm so happy and I'll do my best. Now is when I should look up Apollo 3, just in case. Like, I keep on saying this person, feels very unpolished. They feel very, like, it's got a lot of heart, but it's also very unpolished, much like, the concept of the series. But I don't know that. It's very possible this person is a world-famous mangaka already. Okay, so, yeah, they've done, they won a one-shot award before. So, this is the traditional mangaka pipeline. So they are pretty new. Okay. But yeah, I'm rooting for you. I'm hoping that the series is really, really solid. It is very offbeat. It is very not what you would expect from a Jump series. But it's something I think could have, very long legs. I think it could go pretty damn far. Amazing! Please try out the Roboco cake collaborations. How do you keep on getting these canker sores? I mean, stress, I guess. They say life is full of mountains and valleys, but I think there are only a few mountains. Oh no, Boichi, are you okay? This feels like Boichi's coming down off of the I love Jump, I love working for Jump, I love working every single day. Although, like, you could still read this in a hopeful way. It could be a, there are only some absolute peaks. And, everything else is more flat, as opposed to it's all valleys. No, Horikoshi. Does anyone know what happened to Horikoshi? I'll probably look it up after I'm done recording this, but yeah, hope he's not pushing himself too hard. Hope he can negotiate to, take some more breaks if necessary. I don't want My Hero Academia to come at the cost of, his life. When I was a student, I used a red racket and played with red shoes. I had no connections to the color blue. Interesting. To be fair, I still don't quite know what blue box means as a term. Like, when I was reading the series, the closest I got was, the backpack. But even then, I wonder why. Because when I think blue, I mean, to be fair, it might be different in Japanese, but even in like Japanese series that feature the word blue, I think of it as being somewhat melancholy. And that is not really the vibe of Blue Box. Thank you so much to Mr. W and Gotake-san for the super delicious fruit. Yuki Tabata and his fruit every year. Ah, Yusei Matsui. Ah, I get it though. A lot of people don't like air mattresses. I do genuinely really like air mattresses. Just, not when they're shitty and they're leaking. But I do really like the feeling of just being suspended by air. I'm so bad at ordering online that I was just delivered 144 Red Bulls. That's a lot of wings. Oh boy, I sure hope those were cases at the very least, like cases that are on sale, and not just like ordering food and then accidentally ordering 144 like Red Bulls. Oh, actually, yeah, because it is 144. Red Bulls don't come in packs 12 though, do they? I feel like if I've like seen cases, they've been like the 6 packs. But 6 is still divisible by 144, right? Like that would be 24? Yeah, it's 24. So I can only guess that they were trying to buy if it was 6 packs, then maybe it was they were trying to genuinely buy 24 Red Bulls as I think I have to buy them individually, and they didn't realize that it was like they were cases, and thus they got 144. It is cooling down. Good thing for a full belly. Fall is approaching. Oh, I kind of want to get a tablet at some point. Like, especially now that I'm like reading more stuff casually, like sitting down at my computer is it puts me in a weird space. And to be fair, what I should really be doing is just like like giving myself a different relationship with my computer. Because I do think of it now as being like, I'm going to do something very heavy. Whereas like when I'm just, enjoying stuff, I'm like laying down and using my phone. I should just, try and restructure that now that I think about it, instead of just buying a tablet that I'll probably just not use. Whew, it's been a year and a half since the start of Undead Unluck, and that feels weird in two ways. Like, on one hand, it feels weird that this is not like the 5-year anniversary of Undead Unluck. Like, so much has happened in the series. It is so jam-packed. But at the same time, it's also like, I can't believe it's, a year and a half has passed. I can't believe time has passed. Shame Minya Hiraga. Gotta go, eat your ice cream while summer's still blazing. Oh, man. So, those are the manga musings, also known as the Mangaka Comments. They were not great. Going right to the bottom. If there's one thing I can say, to reassure the mangaka of PPPPPP, your series is still better than the Mangaka Comments. Alright, that's it. Thank you all so much for continuing to support this channel, for checking these out. If there's any of these reactions you like in particular, let me know. If there's anything that you think I don't, if there's anything where you're like, these reactions just aren't good, let me know as well. Like, I am open to, potentially, like, not necessarily dropping a series forever, but just, putting it off, or for series that I really like, but no one likes the reactions to, I can always just read them off camera. So yeah, let me know. I don't get a lot of feedback a lot of the time. But regardless, I'll keep on doing this. Next week's will also be like recorded like this, like all pre-recorded. Next week I should be back home. I'll say that also in the weekly updates, but it's going to be like right after I come back. So I'm probably gonna, I don't want to stream at that point. I want to take some time to calm down and rest and whatnot. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye for now. Nya nya.